You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
And now, a message from Anonymous.
We are Anonymous. We are Legion. Anonymous has many different faces, flavors. Some corporate, some governmental, some white hat backing, some black hat. This transmission is important because we represent the largest contingent of white hat activists dedicated to human liberty worldwide and the destruction of globalist tyranny on a planetary scale. On this momentous occasion, we wish to address the chief figurehead of the West, Barack Obama, who in a matter of minutes will address the world in another State of the Union. In your speech, you will claim that you are battling ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the Middle East, but your own military and former top generals have gone public this day, exposing the fact that Western governments are behind the funding of ISIS and Al-Qaeda to destabilize all of Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and the world. You will speak tonight of racial unity, while your agents, Eric Holder and George Soros, spend tens of millions of dollars a month causing racial division and hatred in the streets of America. Your collusion with the Republican tyrants in 2014 to pass regulations shining the American people onto trillions more of derivatives is another crime for which you will soon be exposed. You swore to repeal the Patriot Act, but expanded its powers. You signed the NDAA, allowing the secret arrest, torture, and execution of American citizens. And now your operatives in Congress have reintroduced CISPA to censor and control the internet and muzzle free speech. You lied over and over again about the true nature of Obamacare. It's increased prices, cut workers' hours, raise their payroll taxes, established death panels, but most importantly, increase the profits of the insurance companies more than 40+%. Yes, you've done a fabulous job. And now you want to increase gas taxes and carbon taxes, but American competitors are exempt. That will only ensure more of our jobs are shipped overseas. You had more off-the-record meetings with lobbyists than any president before you, signed more executive orders than any president before you, doubled the national debt when you promised to cut it in half. Everything you said has been a lie. You are a fraud, and by exposing you, we expose those that are behind you who wish to stay anonymous. And finally, you have promoted the disarmament of individuals across the planet and backed tyrannical regimes in their attacks on innocents on a planetary scale. You dare to stand before the people of the world and claim that you represent the common man when everything you've done is to end human liberty and make us nothing more than domesticated slaves. Barack Obama is a tyrant of tyrants, and therefore Anonymous warns this figurehead that no more lies will be accepted, that the fraud is evident, and that the people of the world are awakening and are not intimidated. As Edward Snowden recently warned, the information that he and others will soon release will bring down corrupt Western governments. True Anonymous is peaceful and not violent, because the pen is mightier than the sword. We are anonymous. We are legion. And the State of the Union is a fraud.
Stay with us. Carolina will be joining us today. I want to do an in-depth report at the bottom of the hour on just how deadly this flu vaccine is and how it doesn't protect the public, because Anthony Gucciardi was in studio but got cut short to about 10 minutes. So I wanted to present that full analysis at the bottom of this hour. I want to open the phones up to get your take on the so-called State of the Union. I think the big vote here is no confidence in the system. Record low numbers Nielsen is reporting for the State of the Union. So people just aren't tuning in to hear the bull. But then they take these statements and then pepper them throughout newscasts and newspapers everywhere and bombard the public with the lies that you're going to get free tuition, just like you get free high school. The first 12 grades, primary school, is not free and is one of the biggest boondoggles out there. That's what property taxes and all these other systems are, that turn landowners, homeowners into renters. So let me just explain something. Public school is not free. And it's been government money. We had one of the best education systems in the world. This is on record. Anybody can look it up. It was undisputed until about the 60s. We had the best healthcare system in the world, undisputed, until the 70s. British, Dutch, Japanese royalty, the Emperor of Japan, the Queen of England, the Queen of the Netherlands, Prince Bernhard, when they would come here, they would get their surgeries and their medical care done in Houston, Texas, in New York, New York, in Washington, D.C., in Los Angeles, California, not in their countries. Now they get their health care in Switzerland or in Germany, because they've got straight up socialist health care for poor people. You pay massive amounts of taxes, but then they've got second-tier health care for people that are rich. That's very high quality. They're getting rid of that here, basically. This is a giant galactic screw job, and his State of the Union just made my head spin. I kind of want to invite David Knight, though he's not here yet because he was up until 11 last night, in to give me his take on the State of the Union and to go over all the different lies, the carbon taxes, the racial division pushing, just all of it. I ended up just sitting back and watching them do a great job last night. It was first-rate 3 hours of live coverage. I, of course, shot the anonymous novelty piece, because anybody can say they're anonymous, and we do represent and speak for a lot of white hat hackers that are standing up against tyranny who routinely come on the show, some of them public, some of them not public, some of them the first hacker, Captain Crunch, and others. So, yes, we were not trying to deceive anyone. It's obviously me and the Guy Fawkes mask doing the anonymous piece, and I will be making announcements in the person of Anonymous. In fact, I was thinking about a contest we could have for the best anonymous message, where you dress up, you do an anonymous piece on the street, or at a theater, or in front of a television set, you know, sitting there at a chair, however you want to do it, for the best anonymous message to point out you are anonymous, you are the people. And anonymous activism is one of the most powerful forms out there. But my anonymous piece is up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. First off, Obama called for civility, then immediately taunts Republicans. Most divisive president in history, says the Washington Times. I agree with that statement. That was his job, was to balkanize the people so the foreign offshore banks could loot the nation while we were busy fighting with each other. Why do you think George Soros has funded $33 million to stir up racial animus and to make revolution about throwing Molotov cocktails at the police? Because if we descend into anarchy before reforming the system, as Ron Paul and others have said, this will give the collectivists the leg up to bring in total control to the crisis that they lit the fuse on. Very simple equation. Do we endorse the police state? No. Did we pioneer exposing it? Yes. Do we dance to George Soros and the Justice Department's weaponized cultural tune of hating groups of people and getting in mindless fights with them? No. We are outside the paradigm, studying enemy operations and showing the public the hat trick. And that includes the police, not just the public. And the police are extremely receptive. Why would the American people want to be manipulated into a culture war and a physical war with local government when local government represents us and we should take it back over peacefully from the globalists? They can't stop us if we move against them with ideas. They're bulletproof, to quote V, who basically paraphrases Victor Hugo, no army can stop an idea whose time has come. No army. As I've said 1,000 times, I'll say it again. Most violent revolutions fail or create something worse. In fact, almost all of them. Most of the American Revolution in 1776 was not physical. 3% started it, 5% won it against an empire who'd never been defeated. We lost almost every battle, but we won the hearts and minds in the end, and the King of England had to sue for peace. It was a culture war, but they wouldn't let the patriots deliver the newspapers, the Federalist Papers, the committees of correspondence, and so it had to be defended by arms. 7 years of perseverance in the face of an empire that defeated the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Austrians, the Dutch, the Russians, and everyone else. We defeated it because we had superior ideas. And we have superior ideas right now. We got a handful of aces, all 4 of them. Nobody can beat that hand. But you got to play the hand. You got to know you have the hand. The enemy knows we have the hand, and they are you-know-what in bricks, because they know the light of liberty that burns in our hearts and our minds is infectious. Let's start getting into the State of the Union before I get into all the other news. Obama, community college should be free. We'll get to that. And he's speaking to young people that play on their iPads all day and everything's paid for by mommy and daddy that have no idea they have no future. They want to sucker them in just like they put all the federal money into education, driving up the price of it. When you put free money into it, it's not free. It inflates the cost. And there's not even an economy or an industry for 90+% of those jobs. Now, I was telling you that 20 years ago. Rush Limbaugh was telling you that 30 years ago. It's just a fact. And I'm not poo-pooing if you have a college degree. Great. The point is, good luck building a world, building a life with most of those degrees. Yeah, a law degree, yeah, if you're a good lawyer. Yeah, doctor, you need it. Yeah, mathematician, engineer. You only need the degrees to get into those societies, those organizations. But past those, you're not getting a job. Criminal justice, yeah, I guess that's going to get bigger. But it doesn't matter. The society itself is falling apart. But the first clip is Obama taunting Republicans. Then we'll come back and get to Obama and his community college statement. And then John Bound did a short boil down on who really wins as America loses, the Millionaires Club, people that have made hundreds of millions of dollars since joining Congress. They're almost all Democrats. I'm not saying the Republicans are wonderful. They're part of the same system. The point is the Democrats are the leaders of the pack. Who sung that 50 song? The leader of the pack. They're in there, they run the show, and they're making major bank, and they're exempt from everything they put on us. Insider trading, Obamacare. I mean, this is galactic-level hypocrisy in our face. Let's go to Obama taunting.
I have no more campaigns to run. My only agenda
is to destroy America for the bankers who hate freedom.
I know, because I won both of them.
Yeah, you've really dumbed America down and ran against straw men.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a winner. Yeah, you're a real winner, Obama. Isn't that funny? It's all Comedy Central now.
My only agenda for the next 2 years is the same as the one I've had since the day I swore an oath on the steps.
Yeah, that's to increase the middle class that you've cut in half.
To do what I believe is best for America.
Oh, you care about us. I'm going to throw up. I use that term too much. I'm going to throw up. But and then Boehner's back there. And I predicted, it wasn't hard to predict that he would suddenly start giving these hardcore anti-Obama speeches. Because everybody knows he's a total fake and he's hanging on by his fingernails. So he's back there staring at Obama that he plays golf with and drinks with and smokes cigarettes with and does other things with. I'll guarantee you, those two are a piece of work. And in the Secret Service words about Obama, you wouldn't believe it, Alex. That's Bongino on air, but I've been told by other Secret Service, they just said, you wouldn't believe it. No, I'd believe it. We know what we're dealing with here. Deviants that want to screw over society. They get off on breaking the country. They hate us. They want to dominate us.
What's the best way to keep a secret from somebody? Well, you give them something that they want so bad that they don't care what you're hiding.
The year is 2007, and 20% of the state of California is employed in real estate.
We live in a capitalistic nation of kings and prey upon the greed of the selfish pawns.
Based on a true story.
We created the American dream, where everybody could qualify for one of these loans.
Americans. In select theaters, January 23rd.
Attention all radio listeners. Survival Life is giving away free credit card knives exclusively to our radio listeners here today. Visit mycreditcardknife.com to see this covert knife in action and claim yours for free. It's the same knife you've seen in the airline magazines for $29.95, but today it's yours free. Just pay shipping and handling. mycreditcardknife.com, mycreditcardknife.com. Go now.
This is a serious topic for all men. Every single man listening may have a prostate problem if he lives long enough. That's right. All of us men may suffer from a prostate problem, like urinating more often, waking at night to urinate, or problems with intimacy. That's why every man needs to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-964-7470. Prostate problems may not be an issue of if. They can be an issue of when. Super Beta Prostate's ingredient is clinically shown to reduce urges to urinate, reduce waking at night to go, and help improve intimacy. Call for your free bottle. Just call 1-800-964-7470. That's 1-800-964-7470. Call 1-800-964-7470.
Healthy elimination is essential to high energy, a cheerful mood, and prevention of disease. Some of the founders of our modern holistic health thinking state that disease begins in a toxic colon. A toxic intestinal tract is the foundation for virtually all degenerative disease, and a clean and well-moving intestinal tract is the foundation of health.
I just want to say that you folks have an amazing product. I've taken whey protein products for years, and I've never noticed the results I have with your product. I've suffered with bouts of constipation most of my life. Within a few days of taking One World Whey, I noticed a dramatic change. Also, in the past few years, I've experienced symptoms associated with diabetes. I feel horrible when I've had too much sugar, and I've been getting the foot pain as well. But I've noticed in the past week or so, I'm not feeling bad anymore, and the foot pain is gone. I'm just finishing up a 5-pound tub I ordered and just got off the phone ordering more. I love your product. Thank you.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com. That's oneworld.com.
You ever hear about Ghost 80% AR-15 rifle kits? At Guns80.com, they are the 80% specialists, helping to protect our privacy. Look, there are forces out there right now trying to register guns for future confiscation. UN treaties threatening our Second Amendment and our freedom. You need a Ghost AR-15. Get it at Guns80.com. Call 844-2GUNS80. That's 844-248-6780. Own an AR-15 today and keep it a secret. Go to Guns80.com. That's Guns80.com. 844-2GUNS80.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
show. We're going to post up to prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com in a few minutes. It's 2 minutes of John Boehner's disgusting micro-expressions during the State of the Union where he was sitting behind Obama looking like he was passing gallbladder stones. And it's all part of an act that he doesn't like Obama when he's the one that won't repeal Obamacare, that's illegal, that's a fraud, that's a giant scam that we were lied to on every front. Now the IRS says they will garnish wages and grab bank accounts and hold back tax refunds, but won't give you advice when you call them about how to comply with Obamacare. Isn't that Kafkaesque? That's the book, The Trial, where he's in a trial not knowing what he's even accused of. That's what totalitarianism is, where you can't even comply because they won't even tell you what the unconstitutional regulations are, what the policies are. Well, here is Obama saying he will veto. Well, not if there's a big majority. He can't. You can get that past him. Obama basically saying that he will veto anything that tries to repeal the Screwjob Act known as Obamacare. Here it is.
We can't put the security of families at risk by taking away their health insurance or unraveling the new rules on Wall Street or refighting past battles on immigration when we've got to fix a broken system. And if a bill comes to my desk that tries to do any of these things, I will veto it. It will have earned my veto.
Now, did you hear that on the immigration issue? No law has been passed. The laws say you can't have open borders or legalize illegals by fiat. You haven't even signed an executive order specifically with that. You just ordered the Border Patrol to give them vouchers and complete the, quote, smuggling process, to quote the Border Patrol. So if Congress tries to pass another law blocking you, you'll veto that. I mean, you're seeing total lawlessness in everyone's face. Boehner clearly has been blackmailed. If you think our economy shut down under Obamacare starting to phase in, imagine when the carbon taxes hit that are already hitting California by fiat, which he also talked about. Let's go to this next clip. This is Obama on how community college should be as, quote, free and universal in America as high school. Primary education cost about 10% of our GDP if you look it up. Healthcare is another 1/7. That's doubling, so now it'll be basically 1/5. I mean, they're just taking the economy over, and then special interests administer it and siphon off the tax money. That's why big corporations are behind Obamacare. That's why they're behind all these regulations to shut down small companies. This is a takeover. And that's why they got bipartisan support to keep Obamacare in place, because 47% increase in profits in 1 year for global insurance companies just on the American people's backs. It's set to go up that much this year. You're talking almost a 100% increase in profits. Oh, I'm sorry. It's sick. Let's go to this clip.
By the end of this decade, 2 in 3 job openings will require some higher education. 2 in 3. And yet we still live in a country where too many bright, striving Americans are priced out of the education they need.
It's total horse crap.
It's not fair to them, and it's sure not smart for our future.
Oh, no.
And that's why I'm sending this Congress a bold new plan to lower the cost of community college to zero.
To zero. That's pure bull. It doubles it in the second half. I mean, just with debt. I mean, you sign on to a debt package. Another screw job from the gangster. People love being gamed, though. They love being pimped.
Keep in mind, 40% of our college students choose community college. Some are young and starting out. Some are older and looking for a better job. Some are veterans and single parents trying to transition back into the job market.
Veterans that gets paid for, all of them.
Whoever you are.
More lies.
This plan is your chance to graduate ready for the new economy without a load of debt.
The new economy.
Understand, you've got to earn it. You've got to keep your grades up and graduate on time. Tennessee, a state with Republican leadership.
All right, let's shut it down. I don't want to hear anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States has more college graduates per capita than we've ever had. everyone, thinks it's like this badge of power. I love how many people are bagging groceries at local H-E-B food stores that have 2 or 3 degrees, and then they'll look down their nose at me because, oh, you didn't get a college degree? Yeah, sorry, I was taking RTF. I was making, 90s, 95s, but it was all 10-year-old information, so I went and just did it myself. See, I'm successful. Oh, that isn't the badge of any success. Living in a 400-square-foot apartment with cockroaches the size of chihuahuas with a giant debt for your degrees you can't pay off is winning? Well, you know what? Call me a big fat loser. No, please don't forget that how we reach more people in this weaponized war against the globalists, in this weaponized media where we use truth, the system uses disinformation and lies, is you, the listener, taking the link to the free podcast, the free live video feeds, and more, and sending it out to friends and family. And last night, we were watching the nightly news. The 3-hour extended coverage on iPhones and on Droids was working really wonderfully. The crew did an amazing job. The reporters did an incredible job. I am so blessed to be in the midst of such great company and to see our organization getting more and more focused, more and more professional, more and more prolific as our output increases as we try to oppose the globalist disinformation system. With great success. It is a true blessing. So I want to thank all of you out there that do support Infowars.com, who are PrisonPlanet.tv nightly news subscribers, and who also promote and support our local AM and FM affiliates and more. We salute you. So, continuing here with the State of the Union, carbon taxes are wonderful. You're going to get free college now, even though that's not what the plan even says, and that's admitted. You just pay in the second half of it with interest. Also, Obama, again, taunted the Republicans, and John Bound put together this report that's online with the graphics and the numbers from Congress. 15 politicians in the State of the Union gallery still win when America loses. Average politician in Congress is not remotely similar to the typical American in terms of wealth. And of the 15, almost all of them are Democrats. John Delaney, Democrat, 111 million plus. And by the way, they hide most of their money. Jay Rockefeller, 108 million. How about trillions? He's the head of it now. David's kind of faded off. So, I mean, we're talking trillions. Oh, he has 108 million. Yeah, and I'm an Easter bunny. Mark Warner, 95 million. Jared Polis, all Democrats, 73 mil. Richard Blumenthal, 62 mil. Scott Peters, 54 mil. Democrat. It keeps going. And I'm not involved in class warfare here. If you made $1 billion with a great widget or a great idea, more power to you. You're going to own homes and cars and aircraft and employ hundreds of people, thousands of people. We need more nouveau riche, rich people that will want to live in nice neighborhoods and want to plant big trees and want to build institutions and museums and libraries. Good old-fashioned rich people that built this country with their ideas. Most of them came from nowhere if you study where real rich people come from. They come from the grassroots innovators. Some from blue collar, some from white collar. Some from farmers, some the sons of lawyers or daughters of sea captains. You make $1 billion coming out with a book, more power to you. But when you make your money off government contracts and insider deals and insider trading, like John Boehner's doing with Obamacare that he makes millions a year off of, with his insurance stocks going up, you're a criminal. I don't care if Congress 6 years ago got caught and then passed a law. It'd be like if they caught the Texas legislature collectively kidnapping children and barbecuing them, hypothetically. I'm not saying that's happening, hypothetically, something extreme. Or let's say they caught the legislature in a bipartisan fashion dealing methamphetamine. And then the legislature got together and passed a law saying it's legal for us to deal methamphetamine. It's hypocrisy. It isn't legal when the president does it, like Milhouse Nixon said. Richard M. Nixon. It's a load of horse pucky. Or, as we say in Texas, of prunes. So let's go to John Bound's brief report. Here it is. It's on Infowars.com. Get it out to everybody with the documents.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
The average member of Congress is worth 18 times the average American household, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. The average net worth of a lawmaker is $1,029,505 in 2013, a 2.5% increase from 2012, whereas the average American's household is worth $56,355. Not only that, but 50.8% of Congress are millionaires. While the median net worth of an American family has declined by nearly one-third between 2007 and 2013, members of Congress have recovered quite well from the recession. The Senate's median net worth went from $2.3 million to $2.8 million over that period, while for members of the House, the numbers went from $708,500 to $843,507. Overall, CRP's annual analysis of lawmakers' financial statements once again shows that they are not remotely similar to the typical American in terms of wealth, investments, and economic security. Whether voters elect them because they are successful or because people of modest means do not run, or for other reasons, is unclear. But struggling Americans should not assume that their elected officials understand their circumstances.
Making sure that these kids have a shot at the American dream.
Matter is mentally ill.
It's important.
Okay, and let's, in fact, I want Bound to do a larger analysis off the numbers because I've just seen the wealth numbers over the years and know it to be a fact. Plus, I have the list here. It's almost all Democrats that are worth hundreds of millions. The only reason that the general Congress is only worth a couple million each on average is because the Republicans who are there, who are grassroots Tea Party people, usually have a couple $100,000 in the bank. So they're averaging that low number to the Democrats with hundreds of millions. I mean, you look at Harry Reid, pretty much his entire family is given giant no-bid contracts. It's like the vice president's son was given control over the largest gas company that was state-run a few months ago in Ukraine. And just his position in the company was estimated in reports we covered here on air at $4 billion. He just got out of college 2 years ago. You get out of college and you're worth $4 billion. He's on the board. He's got a position in the company now, estimated at $4 billion. He looks like a possum that got caught eating on a dead cow or something. I'm sorry, just look at that demon. These people are hardcore mafias laughing at you and your family, telling you you're going to get free health care and free this and that. It's all a load of just pure lies. Now, I'm going to get more into the State of the Union to play a bunch of clips at the bottom of the next hour. I'm going to open the phones up in the first half of the next hour to get your take on the State of the Union. Because just because almost no one watched it, we still have to decipher it, break it down, and show the lies. And we're going to be doing more of that on the Nightly News tonight as well, with the numbers themselves side by side. Also coming up, Edward Snowden says iPhones are loaded with secret spyware. He also said that birds live in nests. Did you know that he said that water was wet and that cows go moo and the mommies have milk? Wow, thank you, Snowden. I mean, this has been known forever. It's in the Telecommunications Act of '96 that all this would be put into the phones. It's a computer that watches everything you do, tracks everything you do, including your heart rate. Oh, yeah, even if you don't turn the apps on, it's tracking your heart rate, everything you're doing. It is a government spy robot that you pay to attach to yourself. I'm just being honest with everybody. I mean, just know. But, oh, my gosh. And it turns out the FBI is running spy fake cell tower stealing data. Just a year ago, they said it didn't exist and called people conspiracy theorists. Because that's what you do to an enemy. You give an enemy disinfo. You teach them 2 + 2 = 5. You get on the air and say, I'm not a communist, I'm Bill Ayers. What's that red star on your website? A lot of people have red stars, Alex. And weak-minded people on YouTube, it's a small number, but a large minority, think I lost the debate because Bill Ayers ball-faced, shoveled baloney at people. We're going to take that interview and take everything he said and then show him to be deceptive. That interview yesterday was phase 1. You'll see how we skin cats around here. These things must be done delicately, to quote the Wicked Witch of the East from the Yellow Brick Road saga, The Wizard of Oz. Now, we're going to get into that as well today. We're also going to break down the really important news, but I do have an angle on this. The NFL has found that there were bad balls. And we're talking about, not about Boehner not having the will to stand up for America and having no inflatables. We're talking about the New England Patriots, who are famous for cheating. But that's just because they've been caught. The refs checked the balls, and so they must have been complicit. I mean, I'm sorry. But this isn't something that matters, see. This shouldn't be the big story, but it is. So don't worry, we'll carry it for you and cover it. We have a big angle coming out in the next hour that Kit Daniels is working on. The real evidence is that the refs are cheating on key plays for the mafia. And that's in FBI files, but those investigations got killed. We're going to post the video proof of that at Infowars.com in the next hour. Now, shifting to Anthony Gucciardi, and he's here in studio with us right now to break down the latest flu news and the fact that they admit the flu vaccine is not helping anybody, but their answer is, as we played a clip of a nurse yesterday, get more shots. So we're going to be breaking that down right now. And will you guys bring me a couple of bottles of Ancient Defense in here? I need to take some out of the other studio. Anthony Gucciardi, break this down for us.
So what's really interesting is I've never heard anyone talk about this before, ever. And we talked about it on air when the Ebola crisis was going on. I wrote an article about it. Something called mannose-binding lectins. And I think this solves the entire answer to how do we defend against virtually all viruses, you know, cold, flu. And also it serves to answer the question, what is immunity? And how do we know if we're actually immune to these diseases? And ultimately what it comes down to is you have the ability inherently, genetically, to produce something called mannose-binding lectins. And these things basically go ahead and attack the cell walls of viruses. And if the cell wall is destroyed, then obviously your body, your immune system, which is creating these things, can destroy the virus.
And we're going to skip this network break because I got you in here late, but isn't it discriminatory against viruses to take them out?
It's absolutely very racist against viruses. You should probably just let them destroy you and use you as a host body to spread and ruin humanity.
Well, I should just take 20 of the flu shots if they don't protect me and only lower my immunity in the studies. Shouldn't I do what the nurse said?
Well, I've got good news. If you eat regular food and you take your vaccines, you're not producing any of these mannose-binding lectins. So what happens is you're going to get sick and you're going to die. You're going to do your purpose. You're going to let the virus thrive in your body and wipe out everyone else.
Because David Rockefeller said there's too many of us. And
exactly.
So, yeah. Okay, I get it.
Depopulation. Well, what it comes down to, and by the way, all of this is on government websites, and that's what's so interesting to me. This is from the U.S. National Library of Medicine, which we always reference because, you know, it's actually from Congress. It's considered the best, the gold standard. You know, Harvard worships it. And here they say, what is a mannose-binding lectin deficiency? Mannose-binding lectin deficiency is a condition that affects the immune system. People with this condition have low levels of immune system protein called mannose-binding lectin in their blood. These individuals are prone to recurrent infections, including infections of the upper respiratory tract and other body systems. They go on to say, and in various other things we're going to get to, that you will be more likely to contract and die of pneumonia. You will get the flu and potentially die from it. Virtually every single disease, the cold, if you have a lack of mannose-binding lectins, you will have the common cold, you will get the flu, you will get pneumonia, and if you have a severe deficiency, you will die of those conditions. Also, they found that rats that are given extra doses of these actually are immune to Ebola completely. So this is how powerful this is.
And you have all those studies. We'll show them to TV viewers and list them here on air. And so they're saying take more flu shots. In fact, queue up that nurse if you can, even though it doesn't protect you. But then they won't tell the public what's in the government's own PubMed studies about herbs and things that are known that actually have these in them.
Well, here's the crazy thing. So you can't just take a supplement of mannose-binding lectins, right? You have to activate them in your own genetic code. For millions of thousands or whatever years you believe, we have had these autoimmune boosting attack formations in our body, these mannose-binding lectins, and that's how we've survived for so long.
We've had the racist in us.
We've had the racist genes that promote these, and then scientists are freaking out saying, why are we getting sick so much? And they've found it's because our gene systems that produce these mannose-binding lectins are being turned off. And they say we have no idea why, right? They say it's definitely environmental, as in something from the air or the food or the water, but they don't know what. Well, check it out. It's because our genes are being shut down. And they say, well, you know, what's damaging our genes? How about virtually everything, but mainly Monsanto's Roundup, which is in everything we eat, and pesticides. And here's a very recent study.
You're not joining Chuck Norris warning people about Roundup, are you?
Oh, I know, and virtually
so extreme.
53 million people that signed a petition to fight against Monsanto as well pretty recently, too.
Well, they're obviously extremists as well.
Obvious extremists. Genetic damage in soybean workers exposed to pesticides. And they go on to say that genotoxic and mutagenic effects of pesticides were observed in soybean farm workers. And we have 182,000.
But what's wrong with having a mutagenic reaction in your cells and getting cancer?
Oh, exactly.
I mean, cancer is exploding, but why even worry about that?
And the viruses attack you, and you're completely shut down. So you eat this food, you take the flu shots and you eat this food, it turns off your genes.
Honeybees die when they eat it.
Yes, exactly.
But dying is good.
And now we have a verifiable proof that this is happening. It's not just, well, it turns off your immune system and it does some stuff to your body.
Well, the Washington Post reported that farmers have to plant with these GM crops a sanctuary crop that humans don't eat just for the bugs to live because they don't want to kill all the bugs. They just want to get the poison food to us. That sounds totally reasonable. That doesn't sound like a sci-fi nightmare hiding in plain view or anything, Anthony.
Exactly.
Like the IBM robot called Watson that will decide which troops to not get health care to at the government website, admitting it. I mean, that's not a big deal, killing the troops.
No, and I know. And we might as well be speaking Orcish right now because the thing is, this is probably the biggest health news ever. I mean, if we could understand this, we would wipe out.
Now, get into the studies that you broke down, because this is also a plug here. This is how we fund the operation. We did sell out yesterday of roughly a third of Ancient Defense. We did a limited run a few months ago, didn't promote it, got your reviews. I've been using it for about 6 months before we even had it. We sold out of that, got a big shipment in, instead of selling it for $19.95, Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex. I said, look, I'm not taking the flu shot. I want to try to protect myself and my family. I want to boost my immune system. What are the known herbs and extracts that are accepted in studies, documented, to defend the immune system from bacteria and viruses? And we went out, sourced it, but then there were a few that we didn't get because they were so expensive. I want to come out with a low-cost, high-quality line called Right Side. Now, similar ones are 35 to 50 more for very similar formulas. This is $14.95. Normally $19.95. I'm discounting it. That's why it's selling out. People recognize this is a big 2-ounce bottle, concentrated. It tastes incredibly rich and good. A lot of different flavors in this. It's got like 20 different known superfoods in it. Elderberry, flower. I mean, go over what's in this and the studies we've got of what it does.
Echinacea, ginger, golden seal, elderberry are some of the key ones that we put in there, specifically hand-chosen. But the key thing to understand, to me, and all of this culminates into this.
But we pick stuff that's super high quality, but also isn't super expensive, but is known, and then we source the highest quality and then cut the price in half, basically.
Exactly. And then we have, you know, Right Side to be on the right side of your health, to be on the right side of the initiative, anti-Big Pharma. And then we have InfoWars Life for super high quality, super powerful mega ingredients. But to understand why we're talking about all this, why we're always talking about these key ingredients like elderberry and ginger and everything like that, why we're pushing this because we believe in it, is to understand that these...
This is what we're doing. Read them the studies about this stuff.
Okay, so when you activate your immune system again, which can be done, everyone listening right now can do that. If you activate your immune system, you will produce mannose-binding lectins. Again, those are the things that block viruses. And if you do that, if you activate your immune system, you can produce them again. And some of the research here, when you start turning your immune system on, researchers from Dallas Medical University found that sepsis patients had they were recovering completely. Tuberculosis, they had everyone who had tuberculosis in these studies, they had lower blood levels of mannose-binding lectins, so their immune system was shut down. People that were dying of pneumonia were found to have virtually no mannose-binding lectins, so their immune systems have been turned off. So everyone has been turned off, essentially. There's a switch in your body, a light switch, with a huge light bulb.
And you die of cancer when you...
Yeah, when you switch it off, it could be anything. That's what's so amazing.
It could be a bacteria, it could be a virus, could be a cancer in your body.
Sinus infections were found to attack people with low levels of this. Rheumatoid arthritis, ovarian cancer, influenza A, the flu, different cystic fibrosis, candida.
Now tie this into the studies of why elderberry and things goes after the viruses. Explain it.
Exactly. So what happens is once you start taking things like elderberry's been found by PubMed, National Library of Medicine, to go in and reduce the length of the flu, because what happens is it starts turning that light switch up gradually to back on, turning your immune system's light switch back on. And if you can fully put it on, then you're just evaporating things and attacking the cell walls of viruses. But everyone's is probably pretty low, maybe mid-grade. Even really healthy people are a little bit up, but it's not on yet. That light bulb is not fully on. It's pulsing with some electricity, but if you can give your body what it needs to turn that light bulb on, once again, the immune system will just go full force, and you showed
the studies from PubMed and stuff yesterday. Do you have those in front of you now?
They're not in here right now because we already covered them, but I'll talk about specifically the PubMed studies showing that...
Guys, do me a favor. Run in the other studio. It's on the right-hand side where he was at, unless they cleaned it off and bring him in here. Or just type in elderberry PubMed study flu. Go ahead.
There's over 144 different ones. For elderberry, ginger as well, echinacea. That's why everyone's used it for so long. And they found this 100% true when we look at the documents from 1,000 years ago where they wrote in their books, for some reason when he's affected by this, we give him, echinacea or elderberry, their equivalents are
That's why it's called ancient defense. This is the known stuff in every culture that they would take when this was happening. And now we have it proven today in studies. And the reason it's such a bombshell issue, I've got 3 children. I don't want to get sick. I don't want them to get sick and die. I'm giving them this. They haven't gotten sick of the flu yet. Knock on wood, praise God. But it's the studies. Does it mean it's perfect? Does it mean it's bulletproof? Does it mean it'll stop at 100%? No. But the flu shot doesn't even protect you, lowers your immune system in mainline announcements. So why isn't the medical system promoting this? Because doctor's visits and drugs and hospital stays make tens of thousands of dollars. This is $14.95. It's simply put, and pretty much anybody could put out high-quality products like this, so it's not something they can patent. That's another reason the system is against it and waging war against it.
Exactly. And when MSNBC comes on and says, don't take the flu shot, it doesn't work, something's wrong. And the great thing is you can take this and start turning on, that light switch with these extracts. And the difference is you're not taking something like, let's say, Tamiflu. Tamiflu, they expanded the expiration date just so they could sell it to scare.
The British government's talking about indicting them. That's in the BBC, saying it actually makes people sick and doesn't help them.
And yet they spent billions of dollars on it here in the United States and the UK. They spent billions of dollars subsidizing it so they could push it on the public for the biggest flu season ever.
It's simple, folks. You need sunshine. You need vitamin C. You need all the... what is it that's in the elderberry and all these other things? I mean, I know that we were just showing some of the mainline studies. In fact, he just brought them into you. But have they discovered what it is in the elderberry and other juices that is turning these back on?
So obviously it's a medley of things. There's different chemical compounds inside of every single herb like that, and there's different vitamins, nutrients inside of that. That's why you can have something like, let's say ginger, and inside of ginger could be different chemical compounds that we also don't even know. They just found the new vitamin in potatoes a year ago. I mean, well,
it's like ginger is known as a powerful anti-inflammatory.
Yes, exactly. Or it's like, if you eat a carrot, it has a medley of vitamins. Well, so do numerous herbs. But one example of the studies we're talking about, this is as far back as 1995, which is amazing because we could fund this.
That's a PubMed study, right there.
If the government went in and funded this instead of Big Pharma, we'd already be 50 million light years ahead of where we are, and we would not be getting these sicknesses. So elderberry appears to be safe and effective treatment for influenza A and B. Again, from 1995. This is on PubMed. And again, PubMed is basically the National Library of Medicine, which all the top universities worship. So they freak out when something comes out that says, you know, elderberry wipes out the flu. Or when they say high fructose corn syrup, which happened last month, high fructose corn syrup's making you fat, sick, and you're killing you.
And grows cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my friends is a cancer survivor, and they told her, do not, mainline cancer scientist, doctor, one of the top ones in San Antonio, said, do not drink high fructose corn syrup. It turns cancer cells on. So the good news is it's getting into medical science as well. Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex, available at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. Do 5 more minutes with us, Anthony. I want you to finish up. Go over those studies.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
I'm going to open the phones up in the next couple segments. What's your take on the State of the Union? What do you think the biggest lie of the evening was? Or maybe you think it's all true. Kurt Nimmo has the story up. Obama's State of the Union, more stolen stuff. Samsung responds to privacy concerns over TVs recording personal conversations. That article just went live minutes ago. Paul Joseph Watson. Okay, Anthony, again, you're going to be back on the Nightly News tonight to really do a special report showing all the documentation and all the different studies. But, yeah, it's a pitch. I believe in promoting what I use. We fund our operation with a super high-quality Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex that has like 20 amazing known ingredients. I say like 20, let me count them. It's more than 20. That have been known throughout history, but have been in major studies to boost the immune system, help the body. And that's what we're saying here is it's insane to get a flu shot when it doesn't even protect you. Why isn't the government promoting things like elderberry and stuff that's in Ancient Defense, available at InfoWarsLife.com?
That's exactly it. And you can go out and look at these studies where we could offer people elderberry, which in a complex could be $14, versus funding the pharmaceutical companies and subsidizing the corn industry to go ahead and make high fructose corn syrup for billions and billions of dollars every single year. So you're just looking at one more study, which is absolutely essential. The randomized study of the efficacy and safety of oral elderberry extract in the treatment of influenza A and B virus infections. And they conclude, they say, it's been used in folk medicine for centuries, and they're, kind of doubting it. And it's been used to treat colds and the flu and sinus infections, and it's been reported to have antiviral activity. And they're saying, is that really true? Well, they concluded, symptoms were relieved on average 4 days earlier, and use of rescue medication was significantly less in those receiving elderberry extract compared with placebo. Elderberry extract seems to offer an efficient, safe, and cost-effective treatment for influenza.
And they did this study once you had it.
Yes.
I know there are studies also on taking it before for prevention.
That's the ideal way. It's kind of like cancer. If you can prevent cancer, you're in the right boat. If you're starting to actually do things in your body to enhance your immune system, turn that light switch on, you're winning the battle. Once you have cancer, you can obviously fight it and, do numerous things to it. But once you have it, that means that your body has been so degraded and your immune system's been turned off so much that you're in a very fractured state. Just like if you have the flu, which everyone gets now and then in this world we live in, eating Roundup, eating GMOs. But once you have the flu, you already have that light switch is stuck to the ground. So it's a battle getting it up. If you can prevent it, that is the absolute essential key. And what we're saying is we just want more studies on this. We want the government and the big pharmaceutical companies to actually admit that they've just been funding their garbage all over.
Absolutely. Well, personally, I'm not taking the flu shot. My children aren't. And we're taking the Ancient Defense, and we're doing great. Praise God. A lot of that's prayer, I know, but it's in the studies. It's common sense. Drink purified water, folks. Get sunshine. Get plenty of rest. Say your prayers. There's studies showing prayer helps health. You know, take the compounds out there that are known to turn your body's immune system on. This is not rocket science.
And most doctors you were talking about, the really, really good doctors, they know all this. I mean, the really, really good doctors.
Oh, when I go to the pediatricians, they say, oh, and take elderberry.
Yeah. They'll say, hey, take some echinacea, elderberry, you know, some key probiotics, make sure you get a iodine. They'll
so the good news is this is getting out into the medical doctors.
Oh, absolutely. The ones that are at the top who actually read the studies and care. The ones that go to the curriculum from 1954 and just read about radiating and killing and cutting, they're not actually learning anything because they don't want to learn anything. They just are closed off.
And there is a time to radiate and cut once you have it.
Well, when your immune system is shut down, sometimes the only thing you can do is...
Absolutely. I mean, there is the extreme end of kookdom in the whole supplement thing saying this will cure you, this is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're all going to die. It's just that the studies are there. There's a way to get your immune system boosted, your body cleaned out, get a leg up. I mean, I can't tell you what Oxy powder from InfoWarsLife.com has done for my intestinal tract. Just amazing, folks. And your purchases support the broadcast, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Anthony Gucciardi, thank you so much for helping us work on this incredible formula, Ancient Defense, and InfoWarsLife.com. Your calls are coming up on the State of the Union. 800-259-9231 is the call-in number. 800-259-9231. Sold out for weeks due to the difficult and extensive proprietary process behind its creation, the exclusive InfoWars Life Secret 12 formulation is now back in stock. This ultra-clean vitamin B12 nutraceutical has been carefully crafted and developed over the last 2 years and is based on cellular science of how your body actively absorbs essential nutrients. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin, the most bioactive form that has been created with our proprietary process. Secret 12 is taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Supplies of Secret 12 are very limited. Secure yours today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
The Hollywood Reporter is weighing in on the so-called controversy that black-centered, black-themed movies are not being nominated in the numbers they should be at the Academy Awards. And there's a cartoon up on Infowars.com down at the bottom that has an image of Al Sharpton basically saying, you know, give us a nomination or we're going to basically come after you. And that's what he does, is shake people down. But Django Unchained producer on Selma, Oscar snubs, says that basically the voters may have had racial fatigue. Yeah, it's not called being racist. It's called being sick of it. Sick of just constant obsessing over race to make that the only issue so that the public is so obsessed with it, the social engineers can steal all of our basic freedoms, our society, put us into debt while we're busy fighting over this. Another crazy article. Intended as a tribute, casino's MLK Day menu offends some, Associated Press. A New Jersey casino says one of its restaurants intended to honor Martin Luther King, who was from the South, by offering fried chicken, collard greens, I'm getting hungry right now, and macaroni and cheese. Some Twitter users objected to what they considered racially offensive choices. Others called the criticism political correctness run amok. Joe Lupo, senior vice president of Borgata in Atlantic City, says the Metropolitan restaurant chose menu items that were among King's favorite foods, according to history, as documented in numerous historical sources. He says the restaurant's manager is an African-American woman and that she chose the menu intending to honor King. Yeah, see, I told the story of being at Barton Springs a couple years ago. There were two Hispanic males and a white male about 20 feet in front of me. I'm on the grass, laying out in the sun, just swam 2 miles. And they're obviously stoned, been smoking marijuana, you could tell. They're in a good mood, and they're saying, I'm hungry. One of the Hispanics says, let's go eat Chinese food. And the white male and the other Hispanic look at him, and they go, man, shh, that's racist. See, to say the word Chinese, see, talking is racist. Communicating is racist. If you play with a Nerf gun in your backyard, the school suspends you, even though it's not their jurisdiction and there's no law. It's a power grab. Zero tolerance. Racism. It's about being extreme. Don't have brown bags at city events. It's racist. No one ever said a brown bag was racist. No one ever said that. But see, they say it is to create a paranoia, a witch hunt where people that aren't racist start getting obsessed and going, well, what am I doing? I better conform and do whatever I'm told. So they make the bar so high it's impossible to ever reach, so that, again, they're in the position of lecturing. It's incredible arrogance, and it's scientifically done. Soul food is just Southern cooking. And it's extremely tasty, it's extremely fattening, and it's one of my favorite foods. I love Mexican food. Extremely fattening. Do I say, let's go eat Mexican food because I don't like Mexicans? See, this is what they dumb it down to where if you want to eat the dishes that Martin Luther King liked because you're a black manager who likes classically Southern black food, which, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you, folks. I know it's racist to say it, but I love going to soul food places and eating black food. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, ladies and gentlemen. I eat Asian food. I eat sushi that's Japanese. I go into Southern cooking places, at least I used to. Let's just say this. I used to go into soul food outfits and Southern cooking places. That's probably my favorite food, but I don't eat chicken fried steaks anymore. Maybe I have one a year. I mean, I've been in a restaurant before and thought about political correctness when I'm watching black people order fried chicken with gravy, and I'm doing the same thing. I mean, if I go to a organic fried chicken place, which I did do with my kids about a month ago as a treat, Lucy's, and I was in there, it was almost all white people eating fried chicken and collard greens, but there was a black family in there. I mean, this is mental illness, ladies and gentlemen, to have to then say it's racist that I like sweet potatoes and I like chicken fried steak, or I like fried chicken, or I like fried okra, or I like sweet potatoes, or I like cornbread because black people in the South like it. They like it because it tastes good. It has nothing to do with white people or black people other than the fact that that's the food that developed in the South out of both cultures. And the truth is the cultures are about a half-inch apart from each other. So this, again, is purely meant to create an obsession, a mental illness, where a black manager wants to have some soul food, thinks it'd be a good idea to put it on the menu. No kidding. I mean, when you walk in a Mexican food restaurant, is it because you're racist? Obviously not. If you say, let's go eat Mexican food, is saying the word Mexican racist? No, it's not. If you say you want to go eat barbecue, I always love the cliches that black people like barbecue. Everybody likes barbecue. And those are modern media examples pushed by the left in the last 50 years. I looked it up to attribute it to what racists say about black people until it became true. And racists do make those jokes. See how they're pushing and promoting a culture of obsessing over all of this. They say the casino restaurant offers menus geared towards holidays, including Chinese meals at the Chinese New Year and Mexican food on Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, and what's happened at colleges all over the country? They said on Cinco de Mayo, you are banned from having Mexican-style parties if you're not a Mexican, purely Hispanic or Mexican fraternity. Everybody's like, but we want to drink tequila and wear sombreros and get drunk and eat Mexican food. Well, sorry, that's hurtful. You can't do it. I mean, so what if it hurts somebody's mentally ill feelings that I want to put on a sombrero and get drunk? I mean, I did stuff like that when I was 20 years old. Just like, you know, I went to toga parties. Wasn't making fun of Greeks either. They told people, don't be a geisha girl, don't be a cowboy or a Native American, and that will hurt someone's feelings. Well, then, so what if a mentally ill person gets their feelings hurt? I told the story here in Austin, and it's happened more since then. People try to have yoga days, and at Halloween have folks dress up like people from India, and it gets shut down by the left at super liberal facilities because they say that would be hurtful. See, you're not allowed to have any culture. And I never finished the point about the guns. You can play with a Nerf gun in your backyard and be kicked out of school. But then if you go play video games of murdering people, that's okay. See, the system's allowed to put out whatever it wants. Quentin Tarantino can put out movies with the N-word every other sentence. That's okay because he's part of the establishment. But if you, an unknown actor or director, put something out, you'll be crucified. See, it's about the system setting the agenda and saying what's acceptable. Now, I want to get into the State of the Union, the carbon taxes, the so-called free education, all the bull. What did you think the biggest doozy of the whole situation was? And while callers are talking, I'm going to play... guys, my computer shut down here with the callers on it. Can somebody nix that out of there so I can get that? Thank you. So I can see who the callers are. Thank you. We're going to take some of your phone calls till about 40 after, and then David Knight's going to pop in, and then we'll continue with your phone calls, and then Congressman Jones pops in for about 20 minutes, and then we'll continue with phone calls and news I haven't gotten to yet. Steve in New Jersey, your take on the State of the Union. I heard about a lot of free stuff, kind of like Obamacare was going to be free, that I'm going to be getting. What'd you think?
Well, thanks for having me on, Alex. I've been listening for a few years now. I've never called in before, so this is pretty exciting for me. I got a solution for the problem with the lack of black nominees for the Academy Awards. I say we nominate the president because that whole thing last night was just a complete act. That's
an article right there. Tweet that. Tweet that. Infowars.com nominates Barack Obama for Best Actor, and that should satisfy Al Sharpton because it was a complete facade last night. That's right. The people nominate Obama as Best Black Actor. Just have an award for that for BS. That's a great point.
Absolutely. I mean, I've gone to college for political science and economics, and I was watching the whole thing, and it was absolutely disgusting. He says he's always going to, crack down on the fat cats in Wall Street and protect the middle class. Where has he been for the last 6 years? Why hasn't he done these things already? If that's really what he was trying to do.
Well, again, he's the front man, but the stated goal of the social engineers and the 0.1% at Goldman Sachs is to destroy the middle class so they can then give us enough to live on and control our lives and social engineer us. That's the name of the game, is making us dependent, period. And I wish I would have brought that up to Ayers yesterday, that dependency creates a nightmare situation. But notice, Bill Ayers couldn't defend Mao and people. That's better than a lot of commies you talk to. Anything else, Steve?
Of course. One thing I want to go over also, I just got done working for a company, I can't say who, but it's a private company that works closely with the media for the elections. And this past election, I'm sure you heard how CNN fired about 10% of their staff in October, right before the election.
Yes.
Some of the staff they fired were actually some of their top election people. They either fired or, basically made them take severance or forced them into early retirement. Some of their top election people right before the midterms. And I know you talk about this all the time. I think that really speaks to how desperate the mainstream media is getting, because they fired a bunch of their top election people.
Hold on. I want to hear why you think they did that as an insider. Stay with us.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
Big business has discovered the preparedness market, and that makes it difficult to know where to go and who to trust. MyPatriotSupply.com is owned and operated by patriots just like you. Has the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more. MyPatriotSupply.com has old-fashioned values and the absolute best customer service in the industry. Look for the deal of the day: unique, affordable survival supplies that fit anyone's budget. Get same-day shipping on all orders and free shipping on orders over $49. Call 866-229-0927, 866-229-0927, or visit MyPatriotSupply.com for emergency preparedness, self-reliance, and food independence. Shop with a name you know and a name you can trust. Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Millions of people are going to get sick this winter from colds, flus, and other illnesses. Make sure you're not one of them. Protect yourself with Supernatural Silver, a revolutionary new product. Recent advances in silver technology have resulted in a silver solution that can be used daily to help prevent bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is safe enough to use daily, while powerful enough to help your own immune system destroy the causes of many serious diseases. Supernatural Silver has the ability to terminate entire colonies of harmful bacteria at several hundred times the effectiveness of colloidal or ionic silver. The Science Digest Journal says silver is our mightiest germ fighter. It is virtually non-toxic and is emerging as a wonder of modern medicine. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
To the engines moaning out his one old song. You think about the woman or the girl you knew the night before.
America must also face the rapidly growing threat from cyber attacks. Now, we know hackers steal people's identities and infiltrate private emails. We know foreign countries and companies swipe our corporate secrets. Now our enemies are also seeking the ability to sabotage our power grid, our financial institutions, our air traffic control systems. We cannot look back years from now and wonder why we did nothing in the face of real threats to our security and our economy. And that's why earlier today, I signed a new executive order that will strengthen our cyber defenses by increasing information sharing and developing standards to protect our national security, our jobs, and our privacy. But now Congress must act as well by passing legislation to give our government a greater capacity to secure our networks and deter attacks. This is something we should be able to get done on a bipartisan basis. Our diplomacy is at work with respect to Iran, where for the first time in a decade we've halted the progress of its nuclear program and reduced its stockpile of nuclear material. Between now and this spring, we have a chance to negotiate a comprehensive agreement that prevents a nuclear-armed Iran, secures America and our allies, including Israel, while avoiding yet another Middle East conflict. There are no guarantees that negotiations will succeed, and I'd keep all options on the table to prevent a nuclear Iran. But new sanctions passed by this Congress at this moment in time will all but guarantee that diplomacy fails, alienating America from its allies, making it harder to maintain sanctions, and ensuring that Iran starts up its nuclear program again.
Folks, I really apologize. You said to listen to 2 clips of Obama. My earpiece broke right as I was going on air, so we had to scramble around the last couple minutes. Let's go back to Steve, then we'll go to John, Tim, Woody, Emmy, and others getting your response to the State of the Union. We did just tweet that out, Steve, your point that Obama deserves Best Actor award at the Oscars. That should make Al Sharpton happy. But let's go ahead and have you finish up your take. I don't know the name of it because they just changed the name. Is it Voter News Services now? VNS that supposedly decides the elections. What do you think was behind those massive firings right before the midterm elections in October of last year?
Well, what I would say about that is, and of course, as you saw after the election, turnout was at the lowest it's been in 60 years or so. It's a post-World War II all-time low. So I think it really speaks to a lack of legitimacy within the political system, as well as in the media, because people are just tuning out. They don't want to hear the lies anymore. They don't want to pay for all the lies anymore. And one thing I will also say about that, So we're at sort of a new low point. One of the recent high points that there was in 2008 during the Clinton Obama rivalry. That's when the ratings for CNN were at an all-time high, and they were making millions of people watching that because there's considerable interest in that drawn-out political battle. But people are really just giving up on both parties. They're giving up on the system. They're giving up on the media, and they're just tuning out en masse. And I think that helps explain why CNN, as well as the other news networks, the traditional media, are all tanking.
Where do you think, Steve, this is going to go in the short term, midterm, and long term? It's obviously untenable for the establishment, so I just see them stealing everything they can, knowing that their reign of terror is coming to an end. But historically, sometimes things get worse, not better in something like this.
Yeah, I would agree. I think things are certainly going to get worse in the short term. Eventually, they will improve as people continue to wake up and continue to, reject sort of the society that the social engineers are essentially creating. But I'm starting to think that either we're going to, there's going to be a new third party, or the Republicans are going to be taken over by people like, Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. More libertarians in the establishment is sort of going to either die out or change. There's going to be some sort of political party shift. And this happens, you can look at it historically.
Sure, major political realignments. Great caller, Steve. Thanks for the call. John and others, your calls are straight ahead. Then David Knight's going to give us his expert take. He was there covering it live for 3 hours last night. Did a fabulous job for InfoWars Nightly News. That's coming up. But this is all about not letting social engineers run our lives. And that begins by admitting they're there and then discovering their agenda.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. just one of the key compounds. BioPQQ is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Through your calls as best I can.
Patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty.
It's Alex Jones.
It's Alex Jones.
I'm your host. Thanks for joining us. I want to go to John and Woody and Emmy, Tim, and a bunch of other callers like Steve that are patiently holding. Before I go any further, we're coming out with a new line of supplements that are different from InfoWarsLife.com. Now, the InfoWars Life line of products, some of them are inexpensive, like the Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver, but is the highest quality. In fact, the same big factory that makes it for Whole Foods makes ours, and ours is $5 to $10 lower, depending on when they're having a sale. Just an example. So, InfoWars Life is not a elite brand when it comes to being expensive, though there are some luxury type longevity products like DNA Force that has just super fancy key patented known compounds that just do amazing things for health and energy, you name it. And I take DNA Force every day. Competitors are $400, it's 140-something bucks. Just one ingredient in it costs us $40 in each bottle. And there's a whole bunch of ingredients. Just to give you an example, we're talking $12,000 a kilo. Another ingredient's $9,000 a kilo, $7,000 a kilo. That's our most expensive product. The colloidal silvers, you know, $19.95 or $24.95, depending on what sale we've got going. But I wanted to come out with a whole line, and this is the first of all the basic staples, but really strong and concentrated, of known organic herbs and compounds and extracts that are just documented to have a major, major, major kick, but that aren't super expensive. $14.95, a 2-ounce bottle of Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex. Ancient Defense combines the power of ancient herbs with cutting-edge developments in nutritional science to produce this proprietary extract blend. Special introductory discount, 25%, now only $14.95 for a limited time. This time-honored complex includes more than 14 specific herbs and extracts carefully chosen for their incredible benefits: echinacea, elderberry, ginger root, gold seal root. That's just 4 of the 20 ingredients. A powerful ancient formula that is made in the USA, gluten-free, alcohol-free, no artificial flavors or colors, and not tested on animals. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to find the first in the new Right Side family of products, or 888-253-3139. And let me just tell you something. We got a small shipment of this in, didn't really promote it, wanted to get listeners' reviews as it quietly sold for 3 months. Sold out of that, got a big shipment in. I'm giving it to myself, my children. We haven't gotten sick this year. It's got things in it that are on record, in major studies we covered last hour, to be serious antivirals, antibacterials, you name it. This turns on your immune system. And I feel really good about this product. And I wanted to come out with a whole line of stuff because people asked for it that is a discount brand that's got Rolls-Royce quality. And I'm very proud of Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex. This is something that every flu season, every winter season, I'm going to be taking every single day because I believe from the evidence that it's the best chance I've got to really being as healthy as I can and avoiding a lot of the things that pop up during the winter. And my children, again, have not gotten sick with the flu yet, praise God. And I've been giving it to them every single day in their juice in the morning. But it tastes great. They take it directly by mouth as well. Ancient Defense, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And your purchase of the products funds this entire operation. Okay. I want to go quickly to your phone calls, and David Knight's going to give us some of his take on the State of the Union. Infowars.com reporter David Knight, who did a great job with Jakari, Leanne McAdoo, Joe Biggs, and all the crew behind the scenes that pulled double duty yesterday to have a 3-hour live, teleprompter-free analysis of the State of the Union propaganda speech. And David's got some really serious angles to cover in a moment. Right now, John in Texas, thanks for holding.
Hi, Alex.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
You know, Republican leadership is not going to change anything, and I got a quick story to tell you why they're not going to change anything. A while back, I was listening to YouTube. I was watching a YouTube video of the history of the AK-47, and they were in Russia interviewing the workers that worked in the plant. They interviewed this old guy that was in there. He says, "Well, we're making them for profit now." He said, "Back in the Soviet days, we made them to further the cause of internationalism." Well, I was in College Station a while back, and I went to the Bush Library. And when I walked through the door into the lobby, there was a big banner stretched across the lobby saying, "Dedicated to the cause of internationalism." So they're working on the same team. That's why you're not going to see Obamacare done away with, or the whole Soviet system that the Bush has built. They're not going to do anything about it.
Well, you're right. The Communist International is what it was called, and it was openly funded by the British royal family, by the richest families in New York. I mean, this is all mainline history for folks that didn't know. Carol Quigley wrote his book, Tragedy and Hope, about it, and they gave him tens of millions of dollars a month. One train was $25 million out of New York City. Lenin's Train of Gold, as it was called, delivered to overthrow the White Russians and all the race-based folks out there. I think that means white people. It's just the pro-imperials were called White Russians. And they went in there and basically gutted that country, murdered most of the military brass, had a reign of terror for 70-plus years, as folks know, actually 80-plus years. And so you're absolutely right that the George Bush Library at College Station is all about global government, all about internationalism. And the communists will tell you, internationalism is their final goal. It all comes out of the Rockefellers. It's the exact same system, the ultra-rich funding communism as a way to make the public domesticated. And the elites are then exempt from the very communism that they put us under. And we're so busy fighting with each other over race or religion or, football teams that we like that we are lambs to the slaughter. I appreciate your call. Really good point. Woody in Washington, thanks for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, hi, Alex. I just wanted to say there was one notable absence in Obama's State of the Union address to the nation last night, and that was any mention of the looming international currency crisis that's happening right now. You have the Swiss uncapping from the euro. You have China and Russia, Brazil, India, all saying and all making major movements to be free of the dollar. And when the dollar loses its status as the reserve currency of the world, we are going to get hit with huge hyperinflation in this country. And we're going to see a huge drop in our standard of living. And he didn't mention one word about that.
Well, of course not. Exactly. They don't cover real issues. It's all, you're going to get free college, you're going to get free health care, and a chicken in every pot. Expanding on that, though, whether the dollar is the best house in a bad neighborhood, to quote Mr. Dent on this show last week, or whether we're going to go under first, it doesn't matter, because the outcome is basically the same. All currencies are being debased in a global race that's been going on since 2005 or so, but accelerating since 2008. So they think that'll hide inflation if everyone does it. Well, the peso for 20 years has been steadily rising in value against the dollar. That ought to tell you something. And when that inflation finally comes home, which it will, and it's starting to, Katie bar the door, because it's going to absolutely be devastating. But the globalists are using oil deflation to try to cover up the overall inflation. And so there is an economic war going on between the forces of Anglo-American power. And again, that doesn't mean racial. It's just the old name that the British called their empire, merged with the U.S. in the textbooks is called the Anglo-American Power Axis. Quigley wrote another book, The Anglo-American Establishment. Folks should read it. It's only 200 pages. And the Anglo-American establishment is a scientific dictatorship, the most sophisticated of the three predatory power blocks. All three are bad. Russia, China, the people running us, they're all just super bad news. But our elite is more sophisticated and even more evil. They're the best. And they look what they've done to us. My God. I mean, cancer, mental illness, neurological disorders. I mean, we are the test tube. And, boy, you can see what they're doing to us. They have really screwed us over because they hate any free, independent people. America, this republic, is their enemy at every level. And so you're absolutely right that's the agenda. Thank you so much. Emmy in Texas, you're on the air.
Yeah, hello, Alex.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, first-time caller.
Welcome.
20 years old, Alex. Just want to say on the State of the Union, when Obama was saying about free community college, now, when I was in middle school, I remember the teachers saying that, oh, yeah, school is free and whatnot. And then I remember my mom saying, well, the lunches and all that stuff, we pay taxes on like the food that you receive in school and things like that. And so I want to ask you, or I want to like try and see how I can figure this out. Like, what's going to happen if they try and make the community college free? Are they going to be like overtaxing the people now? Or
well, number one, it's not really going to be free. You just end up paying more later in the second half, and you sign into a government system. It's meant to sucker more people in to the education fraud system that's a giant bubble and is now collapsing, just like they've done with the healthcare system that's increased profits 47% in 1 year for insurance companies. And that's the GAO's own numbers, and it's all coming out. But you're absolutely right when you say people obviously pay for these lunches, they pay for the schools. Think of what he's teaching young people, that you really get something free. You only get something free if you rob a bank or mug someone, but that's not free because you degrade the society, you commit a sin, you create a criminal society where one day your daughter's going to be mugged or killed. Or if you're a cop that beats up people or kills an innocent person, why, lo and behold, cops are going to beat your son to death. See, this is how you reap what you sow works, Emmy. And so that's really the big evil of Obama's speech, is that he's not even selling a Robin Hood collectivism where they're going to rob corrupt lords that have stolen tax money. He was taking tax money and giving it back to the people, Robin Hood was, that had been stolen by an unpopular usurper. Not taking our money, giving it to mega banks, and then giving chicken feedback and claiming that they're actually helping people. Does that make sense?
yes, sir, it does. And one more thing, Alex, I just want to say I'm from over here around the South Texas area, and I'm pretty sure you've covered this on your InfoWars before about all the sheriffs, corruption, and all that down here is crazy. So I just want to say that. And thanks a lot for having me on the show, Alex.
Brother, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. The reason I don't like callers thanking me is it's obscene. I'm an obnoxious person, unlistenable half the time. My information's good, but I'm doing this because I hate tyranny. We're all in this together. I mean, I'm rowing towards the shore because a storm's coming in, not because I'm a wonderful person. I don't want to be destroyed and enslaved. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for being involved. I want to thank you for caring. I want to thank you for not being a slave. I want to thank you for starting the journey to be informed and for recognizing it's a fraud that you get something for free in this world. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, you get crack cocaine free the first 3 or 4 times somebody gives it to you. When I was like 12, 13 years old, repeatedly, I was dating this wild cheerleader. It was a couple years older than me. And she was in our neighborhood. I'm going to go to David Knight, but I'll tell the story briefly. And I walked out of her house one time on the weekend, and I saw her older boyfriend that was like 19. She was like 16. I was like 13, I think. And he's like, "It's all right, Alex. I don't care if you're dating her." He goes, "Come on over here and ride around with me." And he goes, "I want to give you some cocaine. You just smoke it like this. Let me show you." I go, "Do you smoke it?" He goes, "Well, not all the time. Here, I just want to give you this." And I said, "No, thank you." But then another kid in the neighborhood ended up becoming a crackhead. and robbing his parents and everything to give the money to that guy. So, yes, you do get free crack cocaine the first 2-3 times you use it. And then you're addicted. That's why they go to the schoolyards and they do that. And that's what Obama's doing. He's at the schoolyard going, I'm going to give you something free. No, he's not. But folks like being chumped. You know, David Knight, you've got the floor in this segment, the next, and then we'll continue with calls. Thanks for coming in. You did such a great job last night. We'll show some footage of that while you're talking, anchoring the analysis. But you've got a lot of key points to make. What was the essence of this 2015 State of the Union?
Well, Alex, I think from the big picture, when you looked at the State of the Union, he didn't really talk about any details at all. He said he wasn't going to talk much about details. I mean, he did show things, just as the previous caller was talking about, in terms of energy. He put up a graphic that was absolutely laughable, showing how, look, our imports of energy have fallen, and we are actually, you know, getting close to being self-sufficient, totally ignoring the collapse of the fracking bubble, taking credit for the fracking bubble and then ignoring the fact that it has collapsed. So there was a lot of that type of thing, but there's been details that have been coming out over the past week about what he was proposing to do.
And by the way, he's the one that cut the permits to make the bubble pop, not just the Saudis lowering the price. So he's the author of shutting it down while taking credit for it.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
So basically, he's got, in terms of policy, that he didn't really talk about that much last night. I would say 4 categories: taxes, education, internet, and trade. Now, 2 of those, taxes and education, he's putting those things out there for his base because they're really not going to fly, I don't think. And I don't think he's got a way to put those through. But as far as the other 2, as far as internet and as far as trade goes, he has the support of the GOP majority against his base. That's why he's talking so much about free education and these other things, because he wants to energize his base. And, Alex, he wants to incentivize further illegal immigration, because that's been a core part of what's behind these open borders in terms of the Dreamer Act, offering free education to people who are up to 31 years old. That's going to incentivize people coming across the border, even if he doesn't get it activated, because they're going to believe that he's done it. They're going to hear all this talk about free college. Everything about those first 2 proposals was a lie. When you look at the taxes, and you look at the fact that he's proposing about $320 billion in new taxes, as you pointed out last night, that's an increase that is bigger than the gross domestic product of 84% of the countries. That's a huge amount of money to do social engineering with, to quote-unquote play Robin Hood. But, of course, he's not Robin Hood. He's actually evil King John.
And, of course, that money's going to go to these big colleges and these systems that are already bloated and act like, you know, Roman imperial kings or something.
That's right. And think about the fact that he's only talking about giving half of that back. If you were supporting a charity that kept half of its money and only used half of it for the stated purpose, that's not a very good charity. So even the people who support this and think that they should have this kind of income redistribution, they need to understand that's not working. But at the same time, he's saying, I'm going to give you a free college education. He is gutting the education IRAs for the middle class.
Let's explain that when we come back.
This hour brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Worried about getting sick and feeling terrible for days or even weeks? You need Immudyne for a healthy immune system. Why get sick and bother with products that just don't work? For just $1 a day, Immudyne is all natural and safe for all lifestyles. Call 866-257-8668 to buy now before it's too late, before you get sick. Or go to IMMUDYNE.com, Immudyne.com, or call 866-257-8668.
Millions of people are going to get sick this winter from colds, flus, and other illnesses. Make sure you're not one of them. Protect yourself with Supernatural Silver, a revolutionary new product. Recent advances in silver technology have resulted in a silver solution that can be used daily to help prevent bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is safe enough to use daily, while powerful enough to help your own immune system destroy the causes of many serious diseases. Supernatural Silver has the ability to terminate entire colonies of harmful bacteria at several hundred times the effectiveness of colloidal or ionic silver. The Science Digest Journal says silver is our mightiest germ fighter. It is virtually non-toxic and is emerging as a wonder of modern medicine. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
This is a serious topic for all men. Every single man listening may have a prostate problem if he lives long enough. That's right. All of us men may suffer from a prostate problem, like urinating more often, waking at night to urinate, or problems with intimacy. That's why every man needs to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, a non-prescription formula guaranteed to reduce the symptoms of your enlarged prostate. It's free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-964-7470. Prostate problems may not be an issue of if. They can be an issue of when. Super Beta Prostate's ingredient is clinically shown to reduce urges to urinate, reduce waking at night to go, and help improve intimacy. Call for your free bottle. Just call 1-800-964-7470. That's 1-800-964-7470. Call 1-800-964-7470.
David Knight's reporting. I'm Alex Jones, your host. More of your calls coming up. Congressman Walter Jones, who's battling the Trans-Pacific Partnership and more, will be joining us for 20 minutes of the start of the hour. Then the calls will continue with Tim and many others that are holding. In fact, I'll get to Tim in the next segment. You've got the floor. Go ahead and finish up your points about the State of the Union, David Knight.
Alex, we were talking in the last segment about taxes, how he's proposing to raise all kinds of taxes and mandating that any company that has 10 or more employees is going to happen. He's simply playing to his base that wants to see the government socially engineer the economy. But take a look at this education proposal that he's had. And of course, as I said, he didn't talk about any details last night of these programs, but they have released these things in the preceding week. On Saturday night, they put out the details of the education program. Now, they say that they're going to have 9 million students, $3,800 per year, but when you look at the actual plan on the White House site, he says the title of this is President Proposes to Make Community College Free for Responsible Students for 2 years. In the same document, halfway down the document, you've got the requirements, and it says what the government has to do. Federal funding will cover 3/4 of the average cost of the community college. So he's not even proposing to pay for it. He's proposing to pay for 75% of it, yet putting it out there as if it was free and assuming that the states are going to pick up the other 25%. But the real lie that's in all of this is that at the same time he's supposedly handing out this free benefit, he is gutting the IRAs, the education IRAs of the middle class. He's going to tax the gains from the 529 IRAs as well as discontinue the Coverdell IRAs for education. The Coverdell would allow people to, after taxes, put aside $2,000 a year. He's going to discontinue that. The 529 would allow people to put aside after taxes, after they paid their taxes.
He is killing basic investment of after-tax money, the further blowing the engine of the country.
Absolutely. He's punishing people who have saved, who have invested, who have planned for their children.
But idiots that think they're really going to get an education in this economy and want something free, they get it.
That's right. And what he wants to do is he wants to kill people who take responsibility, people who plan, people who save. He wants to stop that and just turn this into a government handout for everybody because they love dependency. They don't want people to be self-reliant. But it's a massive betrayal of people who were told about this program, who planned on it, who used it. He's now talking about how they're going to end trust funds. Listen, the average amount in these 529 education IRAs that people have set aside for their children after they've paid taxes, the only advantage that they get is if they happen to make some money, some profit when they invest this education IRA in a mutual fund, then those profits are not taxed. But the only thing that he's going to do is he's going to take that away from them and make them dependent on the government. So it's not free. at 75% that he's proposing, and they're going to do it by gutting the middle class. And when you look at the fact that he's pushing that everybody now needs to have an individual retirement account, I thought Social Security was going to take care of us. We're going to see the same kind of betrayal as he pushes everybody into individual retirement accounts that we've seen with these education IRAs.
And here's the coup de grace. This is only the beginning. This has already been done in Latin America, Asia, and Europe, of raiding all the 401ks and after-tax investment funds and bank accounts with bail-ins, and they've been lining the laws and regulations up for this to happen in the next phase, David.
Absolutely, Alex. And you know what? These aren't going to happen. These two things, by and large, I don't believe are going to happen. But it's still going to be an incentive for people to come here illegally, because that's been foremost in all of the discussion about...
Oh, yeah, he was like singling out illegals during the State of the Union.
Absolutely. So this is a massive increase in the Cloward and Piven strategy. Let's increase this base. Let's increase the entitlement for education, as the previous caller pointed out.
Let's advertise everything's free here.
That's right. There's no free lunch. You're going to pay for it in taxes, either at the state level or the federal level. Most of your local taxes are paying for school.
Well, it's like Cortez running all over the Southwest looking for cities of gold. I mean, it's just you're going to come here and it's not here, folks. We'll be right back with David Knight. Stay with us.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Several months back, I started taking your Mason iodine and your super meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers to the show.
Your products are great. I use DNA Force. I use X2, Super Male Vitality, and Lung Cleanse. Every day, they're great stuff.
Whether it's Survival Shield Nascent Iodine or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder, I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, David Knight just doing an incredible job breaking down what really happened in the State of the Union. Then your phone calls and Congressman Walter Jones joining us on a host of issues. Continue, David, breaking this down.
Well, Alex, you said Walter Jones is going to be joining us. He's one of the Republicans who is fighting against something that is really going to happen. And that's, of course, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, these trade agreements with Pacific countries as well as with Europe. And, of course, our listeners know this is part of a global governance scheme to create regional trade blocks and then merge those regional trade blocks into a kind of corporate global governance. And then Walter Jones understands that. And Politico has talked about they had a headline, political opposites attract on trade opposition. They talk about how there's unabashed liberals like DeLauro and Keith Ellison are fighting this. And you've also got Republicans like Walter Jones and Duncan Hunter. What are they fighting? Well, they're fighting the fact, as we've talked about many times, that this is a secret trade agreement that's being negotiated in private by corporate lobbyists. And
think about that. In mainstream news, they admitted for 2 years, it's secret, you can't see it, and then it signs away congressional power. WikiLeaks releases one part of 30, and it's beyond Chinese-style censorship of the web. This is global government by another name.
And we wouldn't know anything about it if WikiLeaks hadn't leaked those details, because this is something that you can't see it without a non-disclosure agreement. They don't let elected representatives from any of the countries take a look at this. This is being done in secret. He's calling it fast track. What that means is that they're not going to be allowed to see it before they vote on it. They can't change it before they vote on it. As a matter of fact, he's going to vote on it before he lets Congress vote on it. That's what's really happening with fast track.
Well, that's what Pelosi said about Obamacare. And remember, that under Bush, they kept not letting us see the immigration reform package. And then Senator Sessions leaked it, and he got in trouble.
Yeah.
So they want to pass laws secretly in this country. I mean, obviously, this is a criminal operation.
So that should make you suspicious. But the part that's going to go through. So he's got his base, and he's betraying his base with this Trans-Pacific Partnership, because many on the left really understand how NAFTA really took care of the working class.
Yeah, it's not free market. It's not.
No.
It was selectively written.
It's not capitalism. It's corporate cronyism. And now the other part of this that he is going to get through that's going to make his base angry is internet. Of course, he's saying that the FCC has control. They have jurisdiction. He doesn't need that authorization from Congress. And using bureaucracies and his executive orders, he's going to push this stuff through. And, of course, that's also part of the trade agreement, getting certain aspects of CISPA in. He talked about this last night. You guys got that clip about him talking yet again about intelligence sharing.
Yeah, here's that clip.
That's why earlier today, I signed a new executive order that will strengthen our cyber defenses by increasing information sharing and developing standards to protect.
Couldn't get Congress to pass it, so now he's just doing it.
It's failed twice. This intelligence sharing has failed twice. Let's cut that clip.
I mean, even Google's against it, saying it spies on everybody.
Absolutely. So that's one part of it, the intelligence sharing. At the same time, he's going to enact intelligence sharing. And, of course, what's behind that, Alex, is he's going to give legal immunity to the corporations who turn that intelligence you over to the government.
Well, it's like Obamacare basically legalizes it for them to share your medical records with anybody.
And then he has the audacity to talk about how we're going to stop corporations from sharing your data, as long as he doesn't stop them sharing.
So here's the headline. Obama announces plan. So Obama to go after pension funds, internet freedom.
Yes.
I mean, that's the agenda.
Yes. He's going after intelligence sharing in the name of security, then telling people that he's going to give them privacy with these new regulations. Also talking about we're going to have faster broadband for everybody. Evidently, it's clogging down, and they can't get enough information about us over the current bandwidth.
And that's, well, really, it's about the FCC making it all, quote, government broadcast to begin them having a regulatory hook.
Yes.
That's what they want.
They've been on both sides of net neutrality. They could care less. It's just like Romney as far as health care. He's on every side of every issue. So has the FCC. They just want to establish their authority there. And they're turning a lot of crimes that were misdemeanors into felonies.
You know,
enacting the RICO statute.
David Knight, one of the best radio hosts in America, and he's at InfoWars. Walter Jones will be calling in, the congressman, any moment. He's there voting, as you just saw on C-SPAN. Let's start getting to some calls while we're waiting for him to call us on a host of issues. Tim in West Virginia, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I'm glad to be on the air. I've been listening to you for quite a few years, and Prison Planet member.
Thank you.
Take fluoride shield, and a few of your other things. Some things have already been dealt with. I just want to speak a little bit about the ignorance of America. I got sick of hearing them clapping their hands all the time about things he said. I couldn't believe it. They're so duped and everything that they are. And when he said free, I thought, you know, how stupid. Everybody was clapping. And I'm thinking, there's a verse of scripture in the Old Testament that says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And I'm glad that you're on the air the way you are. I wouldn't listen to any other news media last night of the speech unless I listened to your people that were commenting. Appreciated very much you airing that and them speaking the way they did and what all you're doing. I'm going to continue to try to keep supporting you.
Thank you.
I'm not a rich man by any means. Don't claim richness. But I'm an American citizen, and I believe what my granddaddy believed in. When the American flag would come by and they'd be playing songs about it, he'd cry, put his hand over his heart, because he had boys in World War II that were on Navy ships. And I remember hearing my daddy say that he always would look up at his dad and see a tear coming out of his eye. And I have an emotional love for this country. I have 14 grandchildren, actually 13, one on the way.
Well, you're wealthy.
And, yes, sir,
hey, you just said you're not financially wealthy. You're as rich as it gets with 14 grandchildren. God bless you. That's so exciting. Now, I get sad all the time as well because America's been dumbed down, pulled down. So many bad things have been done to our republic. But it still has had so many great things in its history. And it makes me so angry to see the globalists doing the things they're doing. But our morality and our strength and our independence is a threat to their world plan. And so if other people shared your concern and started to break down crying and mourning for our country, that would show we were a lot healthier. We first got to admit how much trouble we're in and hit bottom before we turn things around. And I think we're starting to get pretty close to that right now. God bless you, sir. Great to hear from you, Tim. You know, I made a flippant comment a few weeks ago. Nobody attacked me for it, but I kind of attacked myself later because it was meant to quantify the numbers. Approximately 20 million Russians died in World War II, about 21 million Germans, tens of millions of civilians that got killed or put in slave camps by the Nazis and the Russians. 390-something thousand Americans died, close to that Brits. Sounds like a lot, 300-something thousand Americans. What about 20 million Russians? So when I said America really wasn't in World War II, we were, but here's the difference. We weren't in land warfare for most of it with two huge countries battling it out like the Germans and the Russians. That's total war, where just bam, the populations are coming together in toe-to-toe, never giving up, absolute slaughter. 300-something thousand versus 40-plus million. So really, for all intents and purposes, oh yeah, a lot of people lost family. A lot of folks went down on ships. My dad's first cousin, you know, older than him, went down on one of those ships shot by a German wolf pack, torpedoed in the North Atlantic, trying to get food into England. But it was because we had the bombers and the aircraft that our ground troops were spared the massive millions of dead. That's why many of the casualties, the greatest casualties in any of our air wars was World War II, because it was thousands of bombers going in against thousands of fighter aircraft. And it was just absolute hell. That's why it seems like everybody I know in Texas, granddaddy was in the Army Air Corps. I mean, they just came in here and just recruited the state and got them ready and sent them in. So if you were my grandfather's, World War II was real and terrible. It's just, think about the huge loss of life on our side, and then think about millions of dead Japanese. In fact, I forget the number of dead Japanese. Isn't it estimated at 3.5 million? Look up estimated Japanese dead. I'm going from memory here. And these numbers vary. Again, as soon as Walter Jones gets on the line, we'll go to the congressman. He's voting right now. Let's go to Steve in Georgia. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call.
Welcome.
I wanted to just touch a couple things with you real quick about Obama's speech last night after he said he reduced the deficit. You know, I knew that everything he said after that would be just another lie. Moving on from that, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I'm a retired customs agent over here in North Georgia. Talked to you about Mod Salem before the last time I called.
I do remember your call. Yes, sir.
Okay. And last night on Bill Ayers, you had him, and I was so glad to see you wipe the floor with that piece of scum. He, anytime that you can get a professor to say, well, I don't know what you're talking about, over and over and over again, just, you know, shows the slime ball that he really is.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm not a commie. I don't know what that red star is on my website. Oh, I don't know what crony capitalism is. I don't know anything about big foundations. And we're just going to go through in a special report and show him saying that and then the facts.
Yes, he don't remember or he don't know what you're talking about when he bombed the military dance hall in 1970 in New Jersey. He killed, and 3 of his members were killed during the bombing, and one of them was his girlfriend. And that's not the only injury. He said last night he didn't injure anyone. Well, my jaw dropped.
Oh, I know. And when he's not posing standing on American flags, exactly. He was very slick and wanting to pacify us and act like he was friendly and nice. And it was all about getting a point of contact and getting us to agree. That's because the left is really scared. They know people are awake to them. But what do you do when you're met with someone that just basically lies incessantly to your face?
I mean, look, we do that every day when Obama talks to us. But anyway, the flu shots there, Alex, I went in the VA last week, had my checkup, and they tried to get me to take a flu shot. I said, no, I'm not going to take one of those because I've never had the flu. And the lady, the nurse said, you know what, Steve, the only time I ever got the flu is when I did take a flu shot. But now what they want you to do there at the VA, Alex, I know you know a lot about facial recognition. Now they want you to get a retina scan, and I'm sure that what they're trying to do is track the veterans so they'll know exactly where they're at and how to take them out when the time comes.
Well, sure. Whenever they finally pacified Fallujah, what'd they do? They retina scanned every man, woman, and child. And they're not trying to retina scan the gangbangers. They're not trying to retina scan. No, they retina scan your kids when they go to these big theme parks, and they retina scan veterans when they go in to get treatment. Because you are the enemy. You're the people that know how to fight, have shown you're willing to fight. And if you were the criminals in government that have seized this country, who would you be afraid of? And the fact that Homeland Security admits, not the average Homeland Security person, but the people running it, Eric Holder, people like that, Jay Johnson, all of them, the very fact that they say the #1 enemy is returning veterans shows you this is a Vichy French government. These are occupiers, and that's not rhetoric. These people are occupiers who want to bankrupt this country and shut us down. God bless you. Appreciate that call. Let's go to Scottish John. I apologize. He's been a guest before. I've known him about 15 years, and he was on hold. I didn't see his name there. Scottish John, I'm going to skip ahead and go to you and then go to Patton and others. Go ahead, Scottish John.
Hello, Alex. Long-time caller, first-time listener. Hey, I watched that circus last night on the nightly news, and I call it a circus because only the clowns showed up. And it was thanks to David and Leanne and Jakari sitting there like the judges on American Idol that I was able to watch that, because I could normally never listen to him for longer than 30 seconds.
Well, exactly. We don't want to just tune out of the lies because everybody's already done that. We want to take their propaganda and use it against them and expose them right there. But didn't the crew look and act professional? I mean, they looked and acted but had better info than mainstream media. I mean, it was really a first-rate job.
Yeah. Because as I say, I normally can't stand more than 30 seconds of him. And I watched the whole hour there. But you know what? They could have had that over and done with in about 5 seconds if they just turned the camera from where he was standing on that whole audience, and they just stood up and gave us the middle finger. That was more or less delivering the same message.
Yeah, and Boehner was back there acting like he doesn't like Obama when the two party together. I mean, it is just pure theater.
Where Boehner and Biden were sitting, what they could have done was they could have had Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, and Hillary Clinton back there dressed up as go-go dancers. And we could have had Obama wired up to a lie detector, and every time he lied, it would go off bells and whistles, which would have been constant, and those three could have been dancing to that.
Or being dropped into...
Hey, sorry I'm running late. I had to stop and get my vitamins for the month.
I got mine in the mail yesterday from DiscountNutritionShop.com, so I'm here, totally on time.
DiscountNutritionShop.com?
Yep, they're a lifesaver in more ways than one. They have all the nutritional supplements you need, the major brands you know, plus you can save up to 10%. Write down this number, 888-908-4548.
Huh?
888-908-4548. Or just go to DiscountNutritionShop.com.
Mom, I can't do my math homework. I just don't get it. I hate math.
I've always tried to be a good mother, but when it came to Jamie's math, I was at a loss. Then a friend told me about Math Made Easy DVDs. Concepts are simplified in an easy way to follow and review, and students can learn at their own pace in the convenience of home. Listen, in the frustration, call Math Made Easy. Call now, 1-800-USA-MATH. That's 1-800-872-6284. Or visit us at mathmadeeasy.com.
Millions of people are going to get sick this winter from colds, flus, and other illnesses. Make sure you're not one of them. Protect yourself with Supernatural Silver, a revolutionary new product. Recent advances in silver technology have resulted in a silver solution that can be used daily to help prevent bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Supernatural Silver is safe enough to use daily, while powerful enough to help your own immune system destroy the causes of many serious diseases. Supernatural Silver has the ability to terminate entire colonies of harmful bacteria at several hundred times the effectiveness of colloidal or ionic silver. The Science Digest Journal says silver is our mightiest germ fighter. It is virtually non-toxic and is emerging as a wonder of modern medicine. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code SILVER2015 for 30% off. Give yourself and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
We all have our own idea about what being safe and secure means. The door's locked, bills are paid, you've got a job that keeps the lights on, and a home to call your own. But what happens when Mother Nature throws a curveball?
I'm telling you, take cover.
Are you prepared to live without electricity or passable roads for weeks at a time? Do you even have a plan B? If you do, are you willing to bet your life on it?
Children left with no homes. And no one's coming to help them.
The first step towards self-reliance in the face of disaster is a visit to MyPatriotSupply.com. There you'll find the absolute best prices on storable foods, non-GMO seeds, emergency water filtration devices, and so much more. All orders over $49 qualify for free shipping in the lower 48 states. Call 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927 and speak to one of our preparedness advisors today. Or visit us at MyPatriotSupply.com. Remember, before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare.
Attention Alex Jones listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to Alex Jones unfiltered and untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-562-5136. Try it now to listen to Alex Jones 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-562-5136. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear Alex Jones untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-562-5136.
Worried about getting sick and feeling terrible for days or even weeks? You need Immudyne for a healthy immune system. Why get sick and bother with products that just don't work? For just $1 a day, Immudyne is all natural and safe for all lifestyles. Call 866-257-8668 to buy now before it's too late, before you get sick. Or go to IMMUDYNE.com, Immudyne.com, or call 866-257-8668.
Day after day, alone on a hill, the man with the foolish grin is keeping perfectly still. But nobody wants to know him, they can see that he's just a fool, and he never gives an answer.
Well, we've got a real hero of the Congress, and of course he's Walter Jones from North Carolina. He comes on every few months to give us an update. We've only got him till 40 after, and there's a lot to cover. Huge mainstream media coverage, a lot of co-sponsors now on his bill that had almost no support a year ago, and that is to release 28 secret pages of the 9/11 report. And he's seen it. He's told us some of what's in it. It's incredible. It basically was allowed to happen, bare minimum. And he joined, and Saudi Arabia was clearly involved, as if we needed to know that. But he's going to talk about that. But he's late because he was voting on a bill and it looks like it's going to pass. And he's going to tell you about that, to save the unborn 4 months or older, unless it's a medical emergency. And then that's not abortion, that's just a procedure. And you can't kill these babies partial birth. So Congressman, we want to thank you for your work. Spend a minute on that. Then let's get into the 28 pages. Then we'll talk State of the Union.
Okay, Alex, great. What we had was the rule to form the outline of the debate, and it's for your listeners, it's H.R. 36. The title is Pain Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. And that means after the 4th month, the only way that a woman could have an abortion would be that if it was absolutely in the health of the woman, meaning that she would die if it was not done. So this is to stop partial birth abortion. And I want to give Trent Frank, he's the sponsor of the bill. I want to give Chris Smith, who's one of the strongest advocates of protecting the unborn. He's from New Jersey. And I know this bill will pass. The rule passed. It wasn't even close. Even quite a few Democrats voted for the rule, which creates the debate. And we will debate this bill this afternoon, and then we will vote on it tomorrow.
And you believe it's going to pass?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what about the Senate?
Well, the Senate's hard to read, but I would think that, again, their rules are different than the House, and you know that, and most of your listeners do. But I would believe if it's a straight up or down vote in the Senate, I think it would pass also. But I don't know what rules their debate will have, so that makes it a little bit difficult for me to give you a projection.
Well, if Mitch McConnell doesn't stand in the way, it has a good chance of passing.
Well, I think the Republicans in the Senate will bring this up. I really do.
They better.
I don't have any question that if they have the opportunity, they will bring it up. I really mean that. It's time for us to bring the gift from God, to give the gift from God a chance to live. And that's the way I look at it.
Well, if we get rid of this abortion industry, I think the curse that's on this country, and who can deny we're under a curse, will be lifted. I mean, who can kill 55 million babies and get away with it? And it's unbelievable. We're going to break. We're going to break in a few minutes, Congressman Jones, but let's start talking about 28pages.org. Your move, your bill is getting a lot of attention. I know you just met with one of the heads of the 9/11 Commission a few weeks ago. Tell us about that, please, sir.
Well, I'd like to tell you, your listeners, and I want to give a couple of numbers before you let me go this afternoon. I want the people to know that the 9/11 families who lost so many loved ones when we were attacked on 9/11 have been calling for a declassification of 28 pages that were declassified by the Bush administration after 9/11. 9/11, we had a report that was the report was made by Bob Graham, Senator Graham, Richard Shelby was involved, Porter Goss was involved, and they have all been calling that these 28 pages be declassified. Alex, 2 weeks ago, Bob Graham, who now has a daughter in the Congress elected from Florida, Bob Graham came up and participated in a news conference with Congressman Steve Lynch, Democrat from Massachusetts, Walter Jones, myself, and Thomas Massey, and 9/11 families. This is the third press conference we've had, the first one with Bob Graham, and he has said publicly there is no reason that President Obama does not keep his word to the 9/11 families that he would declassify this information. And I would ask your listeners to please go on the website of 28.com, look at the information on the website. I would also like to ask your listeners to call the White House. I'll give that number very
Absolutely.
quickly.
We're about to go to break. We're going to come back and give that website out and that phone number out multiple times. So get your pen and paper ready, folks. 28pages.org is what the staff told us is the best website to go to. And HR Res 14, the phone numbers are on that site. We're going to come back and give you those numbers in 3 minutes. Congressman Walter Jones, a real patriot, is on the line with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with super male or super female vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com. No survival chest is complete without Silver Bullet. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Silver Bullet.
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
Who do you think is behind? Sure, we know the U.S., NATO, Turkey are involved, but who's really behind ISIS, which is Al-Qaeda, killing hundreds of thousands of Christians and other innocents, non-radical Muslims in Syria, Saudi Arabia? And where did 15 of the 19 hijackers come from on 9/11? We know where they came from, Saudi Arabia, so we attacked Iraq, something Congressman Jones has been fighting. So Politico points out, what's going on with Walter Jones and all these Republicans that he's got behind him that want to, release these pages that will expose the Bush administration? Well, it's just called doing the right thing. And the minute other Republicans start acting like statesmen and not gangsters like Boehner is the day we'll start turning this country around. But I want to go to Walter Jones. We got about 10 minutes left with him. The congressman joins us. You can go to the website, 28pages.org. We're also going to give out a phone number to call the switchboard. Sir, give us our marching orders. What do we do to push this over the edge and get these 28 pages released?
Alex, again, thank you. The families of 9/11, ever since that tragic day that we were attacked by the hijackers, they have been calling on the president since President Bush. He is the one that when they came out with the 9/11 report, the administration reviewed it, and the Bush administration said, no, the 28 pages in this report must be classified. I have read the classified pages, and many of my colleagues have as well, the 28 pages. There is nothing, Alex, in here about national security. If it was, I would not be on your show. I would not introduce this resolution with two other members of the House. What we're asking people around this country, think about the pain of the 9/11 families and think about you, the American citizen. Don't you have a right to know the truth about who was behind 9/11? Absolutely yes is the answer to that. H Resolution 14, call the White House, and I'll give the number slowly, 202-456-1111. Now let me give the switchboard for your member of Congress, and that switchboard number is 202-224-3121. Call that member of Congress and say, look seriously at joining on House Resolution 14. Now, Alex, let me explain to your listeners very quickly. Any member of Congress in good standing can make a request of the Intel Committee in the House to read the 28 pages. I would hope that they would have time to do that. But if not, please just think about it this way. Just give the families what they've been asking for. They're the ones that were injured. This is a way for the families to get peace and the American people to know the truth about 9/11.
And I know you're not supposed to tell us everything that's in it, but when they use national security to hide crime, we have a responsibility. How much, I mean, you've talked about it before. I've talked to military people that have been involved in the House that have seen it. I mean, basically, it's that Saudi Arabia was running the operation.
Well, I would say this because it's already been actually Bob Graham, who helped write the 9/11 report. He actually said at the news conference that the Saudis were behind the 9/11 attack, and also that this would allow the families, if these 28 pages could be published, this would help the families in their lawsuit against the Saudi Arabian government for damages that were done to the American people on 9/11.
My God, what type of apology do we owe the Iraqi people for blaming them for this?
Well, to me, I've got a poster. I wish I could send it to you of a Saudi prince with a heavy stomach, leaning back on a pillow and smoking a cigarette with a holder, and seeing Uncle Sam on his knees to the Saudi, and the Saudi saying, "Go get those ISIS thugs, but don't spill any blood on my rug."
It's unbelievable.
I wish I could send that to you. That's why this is about the families who are in pain. This is about the American people knowing the truth. We will not have government for the people if the people don't know the truth. And that's what this is all about.
Well, you've got a lot of courage. You continue to bring in legislation to impeach Obama if he launches more wars without congressional authorization. You bring out legislation like this. I mean, I got to be honest. I love Ron Paul. He was on last week.
I love Ron Paul, too.
And he did a lot of great work fighting the Federal Reserve. But I think you now are even more bold than he was with the type of legislation you're bringing forward, sir. And so I just want to say this. Everybody should be praying for Congressman Walter Jones, because he's the type of leader who isn't a glitter bug, isn't some narcissist, but really cares about his family and grandchildren and this country. And we need more people in Congress like him. Let's give that number out one more time. You can go to jones.house.gov. You can also go to 28pages.org to find all the information. Capitol Switchboard to talk to your member of Congress, 202-224-3121, or White House, 202-456-1111. And even mainstream media admits this is getting a lot of co-sponsors. It's gaining steam. But at least demand that the intelligence committees of the House and Senate read them and then have these members publicly say they've read it, so when it does come out later, they're going to be held politically responsible for aiding and abetting the Saudis. Because I'm here to tell you, the Saudis are in an oil war right now with the U.S. to destroy our frackers. They're in a war with Russia right now. That's on record. And Saudi Arabia, I don't want to be a drama queen here, but we've even had some issues. So I'm telling you, they're all over the U.S. I don't mean Saudi people, but the Saudi government is too big for its britches. It's manipulating Hollywood. It's buying off U.S. corporations. They're out of control. Yeah. And Congressman, have you had any stuff go on, any scuttlebutt, any manipulation because you're doing this to the Saudis?
No, Alex, I have not. And the way I look at this thing, I know you're the same way. I'm doing God's will because God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to save our souls by his son telling us the truth. And that's what this is all about, is the truth of what happened on 9/11. And to me, I have no excuses but to seek the truth, because that is what will make America stronger.
So the heavens may fall. Justice be done, may the heavens fall. Do the right thing, and that's it. Well, God bless you. Amazing. In the few minutes we've got left, State of the Union, you were there, witnessing it all. Obviously, if you're informed, the whole thing is a deception. To see the president, though, saying, I'm going to give you this free, I'm going to give you that free. I mean, it's like he's Hugo Chavez or something. What do you make of this and the carbon taxes and I mean, just all the stuff he was pushing?
Alex, the one thing I'd like to say is that one thing he did not mention is the debt of our nation. It is now well over $18 trillion. In March of this year, 2015, in 2 months, we will have another debate on the floor of the House to raise the debt ceiling to allow the administration to borrow more money from foreign governments to pay the bills from last year. That is one thing that I just get upset with my own side. You made mention earlier I did not support. I was one of 24 House members who did not support John Boehner. I have nothing against him personally, but I don't think he's a good leader in what America needs at this time, or the Republican House.
That's right. We need people that don't want to just allow the Democrats and Obama to destroy the country. I know you also have been voting to try to stop the open borders. Obama, in his speech, said that he'll veto any legislation that tries to stop his amnesty. It's an executive amnesty by fiat. I mean, why even have a Congress if they allow this to happen? Is Boehner going to try to repeal Obamacare? Is he going to try to block Obama on open borders?
Well, Alex, that's the problem. I was for impeaching the president when he allowed those children to come to this country illegally. And yet our leadership in Washington, we had a vote on the House floor to approve a lawsuit by the Speaker to sue the President over presidential executive orders. That's probably going to cost $2 or $3 million. I said, why don't you just follow the Constitution? If you think that the President is out of line or out of control or not following the Constitution, then do what the Constitution says we have the authority to do.
Sure, it was a stalling tactic. It'll take years with the suit so that Boehner doesn't get in trouble. Finally, sir,
sure.
You have been probably the most outspoken Republican in the Congress, period. And I love Rand Paul. I'm a little disquieted by him talking out of both sides of his mouth about this partnership, this Trans-Pacific partnership that WikiLeaks released part of, that basically removes authority from the Congress and the president. It's secret. I mean, right there, no one should support it because it's secret. You've been fighting it, and the establishment's been attacking you for that. Give us what you know about the treaty, because it's secret. Is there any intel you've got being a congressman?
Well, what we're concerned about is, especially the two issues, and because there's limited time, I'll talk about the trade promotion to give the president the authority to bypass the Constitution.
Fast track.
Fast track, excuse me. And that to me is an assault on the Constitution and the sovereignty of America. And I am fighting that. I've got other Republicans who have joined me, not many, but a few, and we're working with Democrat liberals across the aisle to not allow a president to bypass the Constitution.
Seems like a no-brainer.
It should be. And thank you for speaking out about this and waking up the American people. Get behind and call your members of Congress and say stop giving authority away to the Chinese and to an administration that doesn't care about the Constitution.
That's right. That's who's got most of the voting power is the Chinese on this deal. It's incredible. Well, Congressman Jones, please don't thank me. I want to thank you because you're a very serious person, and you are really giving them hell on every front. And in the beginning, a patriot's a scarce man, hated and feared, but in time when his cause succeeds, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot, to quote Mark Twain. And just as Ron Paul, 20 years ago, couldn't get a single co-sponsor to audit the Fed, as you know, that's passed twice now. The Senate can barely stop it. We're really getting close. And so God bless you for your leadership, sir.
But thank you for allowing me to be on your show, and please, God, continue to bless America. Thank you.
God bless you, sir. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Bye-bye.
All right, powerful interview with the congressman. I'll go to Patton and Bruce and Jake and others that are patiently holding here in about 60 seconds. But I almost start crying when you just talk to a simple, normal, smart, caring guy like Walter Jones, who, believe me, folks, is risking his life going up against the Saudis. I've talked to the people that have read it. I mean, you've heard what the former head of the commission said. They knew the Saudis were running the operation, and the Pentagon stood down under orders. And it was bipartisan. And Dick Cheney was involved in the stand down. George W., I talked to people that knew him and separately. I'm just going to leave it at that. He was hiding in a bunker that night and really thought that the attacks were real. I'm not defending George W. Bush. It's just we've done deep research into this. He was a puppet who, by the way, did not quit drinking. I'll just tell you that, too. You know, drunk by 5 o'clock every day. And then the rest of the time in the gym or watching Sports Center, kind of like Obama. And it's not just my sources. There's footage of Bush getting off the helicopter, falling down drunk. I mean, whatever. That's not that big a crime in my mind. This attack, bare minimum, was allowed to take place so they could take American liberties. And the deal for al-Qaeda was they'd later be given the entire Middle East, Africa, and Central Asia. Our troops, because they don't wear uniforms, al-Qaeda, could not beat al-Qaeda in Iraq or in Afghanistan. Now they're giving them footholds, and I've studied military tactics. I've talked to top sources. They concur with my research. They're giving them so many footholds right now, they're not going to be able to be beaten. So I have to concur with the top generals that talked to Dr. Corsi and said that that an element in the government has actually flipped sides and is now fully backing al-Qaeda for a worldwide takeover. That doesn't mean here in the U.S. or Europe per se, but when we say worldwide, all over the world, from Indonesia to Central Africa to the entire Middle East to Eastern Europe, they are to be given power. And I got to be honest, I'm usually light years ahead of Glenn Beck and WorldNet Daily on a lot of issues. And I'd hear this stuff 6, 7 years ago about caliphates and all this, and I was wrong. I mean, it's real. They're really doing it. And it shows you the elite are out of their minds, evil. Because they're not just intending to build up al-Qaeda to defeat them over and over again while their leadership gets paid off. They are intending to turn them loose everywhere. And then take all of our freedoms when they attack. So, as a father, once you're a father, I've been a father for almost 13 years now. It's beyond anger. I just am disgusted, and I just am by people that want to destabilize society, people that want to screw things up, people that want to hurt innocents, dumb down kids. We're facing pure evil. The system wants you to take flu shots that they know don't protect you and lower your immune system every year as the flu gets worse every year. We're going to go to break, come back with your calls, a little bit of overdrive. I'm going to go right to Patton and Bruce and everybody, but I don't want to cut you short, so stay there. Briefly, since I mentioned that, what I personally have done, we've been working on this a year, is go out and find the best well-known herbs and extracts to put it into an organic, cold-pressed, non-alcohol, very thick, oily tincture. And this is concentrated. This is a Rolls-Royce or Lamborghini Countach quality nutraceutical for $19.95. We did a test of it. People loved it like I already did. So we got a bunch of it in, but it's already, half of it's already sold out in just a few days since I went to 25% off the already super low price, $14.95 Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Complex. And at current rate, it'll probably sell out in a week, and then it'll take a while to get more of it in. And it supports the broadcast. But this is just mega strong, mega concentrated, mega organic. And we're so proud of it. It's the new Right Side discount line. Now, some of our InfoWars Life is discounted and very inexpensive. Some of it's very expensive because it's how much these proprietary patented compounds cost. This is with ancient known herbs and other extracts, all mixed together at a very, very low price because we can get them for a lot less. We kept a few ingredients out that are excellent as well, just they're too expensive. So we're coming out with a whole line for folks. Some stuff as low as $9.95. We're going to have a whole line, the right side, Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. You can go read all the ingredients right there. Echinacea, gold seal root, yin, chayo formula, Japanese honeysuckle flower. I'm not going to read everything on here. It's just elderberry, ginger root. It's all there. Elderberry flower. It's just so many incredible things. Bayberry bark. This is amazing.
I am a 47-year-old female and had a heart attack in 2005. This is Alice from New Jersey. I still get angina, even with 4 stents. I was taking nitro 2 or 3 times a week. The very first day after taking Heart and Body extract, the chest pain was gone. Now I don't wear a nitro patch.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
What's the best way to keep a secret from somebody? Well, you give them something that they want so bad that they don't care what you're hiding.
The year is 2007, and 20% of the state of California is employed in real estate.
We live in a capitalistic nation of kings and prey upon the greed of the selfish pawns.
Based on a true story.
We created the American dream, where everybody could qualify for one of these loans.
Americans. In select theaters, January 23rd.
Worried about getting sick and feeling terrible for days or even weeks? You need Immudyne for a healthy immune system. Why get sick and bother with products that just don't work? For just $1 a day, Immudyne is all natural and safe for all lifestyles. Call 866-257-8668 to buy now before it's too late, before you get sick. Or go to IMMUDYNE.com, Immudyne.com, or call 866-257-8668.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hey, Boomer! I learned in school today that 60% of our bodies are made of water. Good thing we have the Berkey system. It's the cleanest, best water ever. Mom says it's because the Berkey's filtration system cleans out the bad stuff and leaves only pure, delicious water. I know, right? You love it too. Yeah, I'm thirsty too. Let's go get some. Get Berkey clean water by calling 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653. Or visit goberkey.com.
All right, we're going to do this segment and one little segment of Overdrive, as is customary, to finish up with callers. Patent and Bruce and HB and Jake. We'll get to all of you. 2 new stories up on Infowars.com. Deflated NFL refs allegedly never noticed deflated footballs. That's in Deflategate. And as George Orwell said, if the proles ever stopped obsessing over sports or lotteries, they might have saved Oceania from the tyranny. Samsung has responded to privacy concerns over its warning that voice recognition software used in the company's line of smart TVs is being used to record personal conversations and send them to third parties. You can read their response up on Infowars.com. I want to go to calls first. If I have time, I'll get into this more. It's a very important story. Let's go to Patton. Patton, you're on the air. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Alex. There's 2 or 3 things I want to say. The first time or 2 I called, I was kind of starstruck because you are one of my heroes.
Please, you're my hero.
The story Lan McAdoo done last night on occult knowledge, I think that is hard hidden. If we can, like she said, the knowledge can be used for good or evil. It just depends on the person using it. If we can get our hands on some of that ancient knowledge of how to manipulate people, like she was talking about the cake mix, imagine the same stuff they can apply to food or music or anything, selling records or whatever. Well, they have used it on all of it.
Sure. You can't use the Ring of Sauron to do good, so I wouldn't use the knowledge against others, but knowing how evil operates, you then can't be manipulated by it as easy, and you can tell others. So, yes, you can use occult knowledge by knowing it to be aware of its pitfalls, but I do not believe you can use occult knowledge and have it ever turn out good. If that's what you're saying. I did watch the interview. It was very powerful. I want to get that guy on my broadcast and get his view. I was aware of a lot of what he was talking about. But from that perspective, again, knowing the enemy tactics is good. Occult just means hidden. And so, yes, the globalists use hidden systems of manipulation. And you see the low-level thing, it's hidden that Obama's not going to give you free education. Because we know the facts, we know how to look it up. Well, to the average public, they don't know how to look it up, so it's magical to them. So I guess I have occult knowledge because I know about false flags. Well, now the public knows about false flags, so it's no longer occult because it's no longer hidden. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So I agree with you. You can use the occult, not that you get out a Ouija board or a pentagram, but you know the occult, and so you know their tricks. Go ahead.
You know how to defend yourself against it. If you know what they're doing, you know how to defend yourself against it.
Absolutely. Well said. Anything else?
The other thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, the other thing, I've found a way to, in my town, Lenore City, Tennessee, I've figured out how to really put the word out about InfoWars. I've got 30 or 40 signs out all across my county. There's 2 or 3 overpasses that I put sheets on. I go to the edge of the overpass and I put a sheet on each side that says at the very top, if you want the truth, go to Infowars.com or AlexJones.com. Okay, I've got 30 or 40 signs in my friends' front yards all across this county. And I'm just, there's not very many people out here that really go for the actual truth instead of whatever they can get out of it truth. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, Alex, is what is your definition of a terrorist?
My definition of a terrorist is someone that takes women and children hostage and threatens to kill them for demands. I don't think someone asymmetrically fighting back against occupiers is a terrorist, as some people define it. I think the Palestinian that stabbed 7 people in Tel Aviv attack, including non-military people, is a terrorist. I don't think someone fighting an Israeli tank in, say, Lebanon in their own land is a terrorist. I'd call him a military person. So there's my definition of terrorism. It's threatening acts of violence or carrying them out to demand a political or economic gain is the classical definition. But I think it's targeting non-combatants. We'll be right back. Stay with us. More calls coming up. Bruce and others.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Fix bayonets.
Fix bayonets. We are now entering overdrive.
All right, folks.
With your host, Alex Jones.
That's right.
Broadcasting live from the front lines. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
About 10 minutes ago, Kit Daniels had an article go live on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Deflategate, NFL refs allegedly never noticed deflated footballs. Were others involved in Deflategate conspiracy besides just the Patriots? And a few commenters are complaining that we wrote about a non-issue. We wrote about it to expose the NFL as a fraud run by gambling mafias if you actually read the article. We're waging war on the Obamacare-promoting anti-gun organization that I want to vomit on, that's stolen the manhood of our society. I'm not there promoting football. I'm hijacking it, and I will start hijacking all these entertainment platforms and taking it over so we can educate the people that are only tuned into this. Comprende? Smart guys? So many people complain, you go run an info war, and if you do better than me, I will give you my job. I can't tell you the pleasure I take in seeing David Knight get so good and so accurate on air. He's the guy I knew I hired, and the rest of my crew. So you get in there, you do something, you'll be a guest on this show, okay? We're about getting something done here and not backseat quarterbacking. Instead of Monday morning quarterbacking, it's now backseat quarterbacking, something I invented. Bruce in Michigan, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, I know you've talked many times about science fiction and how mankind is seemingly confined to the earth, whether it's due to rich people or God, whatever.
Yes.
I wonder if you ever read a book by C.S. Lewis called That Hideous Strength, part of a science fiction trilogy that C.S. Lewis wrote.
Yes, I did read it.
It is excellent. I mean, I just recently reread it. I read it back in the 90s.
In fact, will somebody go to Barnes & Noble's and buy me 2 copies of that? I want to give my son one. I was wanting him to read that when he was about 2. I thought, oh, when my son gets older, I'll have him read this. I read that about 10 or 11 years ago.
They say it's a page turner, and it was the first time I read it, and then I just read it 2 days ago again. It takes... Well, I just kept at it. I read from like 2 in the morning till 7 in the morning. I couldn't keep my eyes open.
Yeah, the screw tape letters are excellent as well.
Yeah, I personally believe that we are quarantined by God.
Yeah, no, this is purgatory.
Yeah, it is. We got to get it right before He'll let us spread out to other planets.
That's
and that
it.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it is. It's one of the best books I've ever written. That's about all I wanted to say. I have concerns about another war in the Middle East because Israel has broken a kind of a truce they had with Hezbollah, and I'm hoping and praying that Hezbollah and Iran do not respond. That's all we need is a big war in the Middle East. Plus, Ukraine is getting hot again. I'm afraid of that. What you said about football is 100% accurate. I'm sick and tired of these major sports people. I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I know how the mafia works, why we've never won. You know, in Detroit, Detroit's always been perennial losers for like 60 years now. It's a big fraud. And mature men waste so much of their energy and time on this foolishness instead of taking our country back like they should.
That's right. And then they act like we're not manly because we don't memorize all the sports scores. It's just mindless. God bless you. Let's jam in one more. Sorry to the other callers. Let's talk to who's been holding the longest here. HB in FEMA Region 4. Go ahead.
Hey, brother, good show today. Hey, you keep mentioning that the fall of the fracking industry is a bad thing. Well, we don't need fracking in the first place, and plus it ruins about 1.5 billion gallons of fresh water in every frack. It's drawing down our aquifers up there, and it's just ruining wells in the area. It's causing earthquakes. It's a bad thing. We need to stop it immediately.
I know it has bad side effects. I was simply, and some of it's done cleanly, other areas it's not. You're right. I was just stating the Saudi Arabians are trying to bankrupt Russia and the United States oil industries that are independent. I was just stating why the war is going on, brother.
And I know it's crashing the Texas economy, but when are they going to give us free energy like Tesla stuff? That's all.
I agree. The answer to getting out of this is innovation, which the globalists block.
So we decided to upgrade the look of our home.
You know. Expected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male.